Good afternoon and welcome, everybody. This would be the Jeff Cameron Show right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Hello, we made it. The National Football League gets underway tonight. All right. I'm Jeff, that's Tom. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you're going to listen live via the streaming free always. If you miss anything, go back, get caught up at your leisure. We'll post all 3 hours on iTunes and in our own audio vault. It's Redemption Thursday. The wagers are before me. Another winning week last week. We are off to a flying start with the picks. I just damned myself to a losing weekend by bragging to the football gods that I've got them, that I'm pinning them down, that I'm off to a great start on the season. If you go back to week 0, you couple it with this past opening week, if you will, week 1, the full week 1, where I had 9 wagers, went 5-3-1. That makes me on the season 8-3-1. Tom, 8-3-1.
That's quite good if you look at the numbers and the watermark where you need to be above.
Yeah, I'm in good shape there. And in my illegal gambling activities with my bookies, I'm winning there too, Tom. So it's really a good stretch of run here for Big Daddy J. He's off to a great start.
Has he done it again?
I got no play on tonight's game. Just gonna watch.
Hot damn, Big Daddy's done it again.
Yeah, I'm just going to watch tonight. I'm actually very intrigued with that matchup. There are a lot of cool storylines. First of all, new coach in Green Bay. Going to need Aaron Rodgers to bounce back. What kind of offense are they going to run? Is he in control of it at the line of scrimmage? I mean, that's what the question has been all week in Green Bay is who's really running this offense here? New defensive coordinator, you're all set there. The Bears with Trubisky got to take a step forward. I think in 9 of the games last year, they scored fewer than 20 points. Going to have to do better than that. Great defense, dominating defense. He does have a big arm. Let's see what that offense looks like. Do they fall back to the pack, or do they repeat their success of a year ago, which really kind of came out of nowhere? Nobody saw that coming, but they did have an awful lot of success. So, they're a weird team on win totals. If you're looking at win totals, I wouldn't touch that with a 10-foot pole. I got no idea what the Bears are going to be.
Right, but if he lines up, Trubisky that is, and he looks like he's got complete command of the offense and he plays a complete game of high-level pro football, you wouldn't be shocked because you saw enough evidence of it last year that it's in him. But then if he's awful,
you wouldn't be shocked.
Spotty at best,
you wouldn't be shocked, right?
Seems about right.
Well, that's why year 3 though now, right? So you get a chance to see where a guy's at, and he's got some things you like about him that some others that, from an accuracy standpoint, that you need you to be a little bit better than that. So I don't know. The jury's still out on them. So that's and the rivalry. It's just an extremely intriguing game right out the box.
Probably have more time than Aaron Rodgers tonight to throw the football. Just a guess.
I would guess that too. Yeah, man, it's like the Bears can't help but have a great defense. You ever notice that? I mean, no matter what's going wrong on off. Now the same thing could be said. Like on the other side of the ball, you'd say the Bears can't help themselves. They never have an elite quarterback ever. Never do. Never. And then just as soon as you say that, you go, they also can't help themselves. They're always awesome on defense. They will always beat your ass on that side of the ball. It's amazing.
Like you're in their front office last year, fly on the wall, and the GM is talking to his assistants saying, oh, we might only have a pretty good defense this year. Jim, I've got John Gruden on hold from Oakland. I wonder what John wants.
Yeah. He wants to change our fortune. That's what he wants. He wants to offer us up the most dominant defender in the league for peanuts because he's a dumbass.
Sure, John. For a first and a second, is that? I'm sorry. What's the asking price? I think we can work with that, John.
I think so. Send him on over.
In fact, you know what? I don't need to hold for
Next
approval.
plane.
I believe I have unilateral approval on this.
He's like mouthing to the rest of the room. I'm gonna fleece his dumbass.
Everybody, shh. Yeah. Put him on speaker.
Yeah.
So if we can send you a Mac there for a couple of firsts.
Done.
Send
it on over. The contract's on its way.
Talk to you later.
Thanks, John. Click. I don't know.
What the hell just happened? We got Khalil Mack.
Yeah, we're going to be pretty good on defense this year, boys. How about that? It's what we do.
Wonder if I should have asked for more.
The football gods send somebody our way, either in the draft or by hook or crook. We're going to be good on defense. It's Chicago. Redemption Thursday wagers look like this. Syracuse +2 against Maryland. Don't love the game. Need 10 to 11 games every week. Pick the game. I don't think there's something weird about that game. I can't figure it out. I don't know. But I was surprised that Syracuse was a dog. I'll take the 2 points. I think Ohio State's going to blow out Cincinnati. Cincinnati, one of the better group of 5 teams, but did not look good against UCLA, even in the win. I almost said even in the win.
Fraunhofer.
Give me Ohio State. Give the 16. I took Nebraska because Colorado stinks. I gave the 4. I took Texas A&M almost on principle. I want to see a good game. I'm getting 17.5. Jimbo will try to shorten the game here. They've got good athletes. He plays Clemson well. I'll take the 17.5. Florida State -22 against Louisiana Monroe. I think we paced Louisiana Monroe this weekend. I think we score in the 50s. Book it, baby. Big win for the Noles.
I can feel it all the way down in my plums.
Woo! Stanford in a basic pick'em, but I am getting a point, so I'll take it against Southern Cal and their backup quarterback. Stanford may end up with their backup quarterback. That's all right. Southern Cal is a train wreck. It's interesting. A lot of people looking at USC and Florida State in the same room, right? They're at the same table.
See, but from afar, and this is where from afar versus covering it every day really matters, right?
Yeah.
From afar, I'd say, I don't know about their morale over there. They just lost a quarterback, and they've got, what are they playing for? Somebody might say that about Tallahassee from the West Coast.
I think they would.
But I think they're strong enough here, to your point. Offensively speaking, I think they're strong enough to shake it off from last week.
Yeah,
and put
score
up a big number.
Points. Yeah, I think they will. Yeah, I think they will. I agree with that. I'm excited to watch this offense play this week, and I think they're going to put up a lot of points. Now, I really, where I really want to see the improvement is on defense, and hopefully I will.
Will you know? I guess you can.
Well,
somewhat.
Well, what you can know is, fewer busted assignments, fewer 2 guys in the same hole, that kind of thing. I mean, let's
3rd and 15. What
occupying
do we do?
the same. You can't do that, guys. You got to get in there and make a play, and you got to be smart. And your run fits. I see that concerned look on your face.
Yeah, well, when you're talking about linebacker play, yeah. Every time there was a big play, and I looked at it, I was like, where is 5? Wait a minute. That's your natural position, sir.
I know, man.
If 6 does it once in a while, I think we have to live with that because he's learning a new position and a new perspective on the field.
Yeah.
He's in between the defensive lines, so he's got to read things differently and process them. Where are you going 5? Come on, guys.
Well,
look at that. There's a depth substitution. Here comes 28. All right. We're saved.
No doubt. We're all frustrated, Tom.
Yeah.
I feel you. I do. Penn State -29.5 against SUNY Buffalo. I always say it.
SUNY.
I know. And then Washington -13.5 against Cal. I did that. 2 NFL games real quick. I don't believe in the experiment that's going on in Arizona. I don't even care if they win this weekend. I'm going to bet against them every week. I think I'll come out ahead. I do. I'm serious.
So this is like your Buffalo take from a few years ago.
Yeah, just bet against them every week. You'll be all right.
That would be the Bills, not
Yeah. No, I'm going to bet against Arizona every week. I'll take Detroit -2.5. You're going to lose some. It's the NFL. They'll find a way to win a game here and there. Maybe the home opener. They may win this one. I don't know. But I like Detroit. I'll give the 2.5. And I took Cleveland -5.5 against Tennessee. I don't expect much out of that Tennessee team.
That feels like it's got 23-20 written all over it, though.
You worried about it?
Yeah.
I think Cleveland may win 21-0.
Really? Okay. 21-0. If that's the score.
Oh, buddy, we're going to Vegas if that happens. We're flying to Vegas the next day.
Biloxi.
Yeah. Well, Harlan Barnett met with the media, so I think that's a good move. I do. At first, yesterday, I think we needed more of a cooling off period.
Yeah, it just felt better today.
Didn't it?
Yes.
I think that's true.
Okay. And it felt almost like a relief because, Harlan's not going to talk about hydration, so that's good. And he was asked some tough questions, but I got to hand it to him.
He handled them well.
It was 9+ minutes of media availability today. And the most honest moment of the whole time, and I don't know if you caught this, but in watching the video, I don't know if it was Derek or somebody else at Sports Info, but they said, all right, a couple more minutes, and Harlan rolled his eyes like, okay,
really?
I got to stay in mode here and not lose my patience for 2 more minutes, but okay, fine, here's my penance.
This quote, are we doing too much? Let's focus on the very fundamentals of the particular scheme or whatever it is. Dial back some. Don't try to do as much. It is new to the guys. Give them a good understanding of it and move forward. He did mention that maybe we were for the guys first game. Really excited. They want to do well. So maybe we have to dial some of that back. It's been a tough go for Harlan Barnett. You guys, obviously, you see the games. You know that they have not played good defense. This has not been a good start to Harlan Barnett's time here at Florida State. And it's frustrating because I don't doubt that Harlan Barnett understands defensive football. He was a very good player. He's been a part of very successful defenses at Michigan State. But for whatever reason, what he's teaching and what he's attempted to implement at Florida State, whether last year or this year, it just has not worked. Now, there are some personnel groupings that are weak, that you're going to be exposed with their efforts from game to game, but the schemes have not been coherent. And so certainly the guys have not executed them as you would wish. So I really need to see signs that this is getting turned around, that there's a basic understanding, a grasp of what they're being asked to do, and an attempt to execute those things. We routinely see guys out of position, misaligned, guys running wide open, too soft in the zone, not enough pressure, and third and obvious, and all these kinds of things. So hopefully this weekend that gets cleaned up. You begin to see the road to healing, Tom, as I would call it, just the road to being, some of you asked me to bring back to the table 3, not 7 mantras. Close. I mean, it's entirely possible.
Probably for the trip up to Charlottesville, right?
Sure.
I mean, maybe not this weekend. Do what you can this weekend.
You can actually get some stops this weekend. But
I found it interesting. One of his quotes today was he was asked about the 3rd and longs and how this is a tough question to answer because the way it's asked is Coach Taggart said that on 3rd and longs maybe we should have been a little bit more aggressive. That's essentially the gist of it if I'm not getting it word for word. And so I'm watching his facial expression like, is he going to contort here or is And he said, the funny thing is, I think this is a refreshingly transparent, if nothing else, this coaching staff kind of is. He said, I kind of overthought it. I'm aggressive by nature. That's me. I'm actually an aggressive coach by nature.
So I wanted to dial back my own inclination to be overly aggressive, and thus I became too passive.
I think that's essentially what he's claiming.
Sure.
And that is true because
don't do that.
The first thing he said when he came in was, that we're going to play up near the line of scrimmage. We're going to stop the run. We're going to play press man outside, and we're going to get after the quarterback. Well, let's see if it happens this weekend.
Well, they did get after the quarterback. 6 sacks. They did. They ended up forcing him into an interception. They got the ball on the ground 5 times. They recovered a couple of them. That's the aggressive nature I kept talking about that I want to see from here on out. This needs to be a boom or bust, more possession game every week. You're either going to force turnovers or get guys way behind the chains where it's almost impossible not to get off the field. That kind of thing where you're gonna create extra possessions because when you fail, you're probably going to fail spectacularly. You're going to give up the big play because you're in single coverage. And you know what? Fine. Give the ball back to my offense. Give them more opportunities, not fewer.
I've been waiting to watch Big 12 football anyway for a long time.
It's here in Tallahassee, buddy.
Oh, yeah.
May very well be.
Is that the tongue in my cheek? Yep, that is.
It could very well be.
4.5 hours.
Well, listen.
But I'll take it. If it's a win in 4.5 hours.
You got to win some damn games, dude, at this point. I don't care if it's a 6-hour or 2-hour game. You got to win some of these games. And I think you got to give yourself the best opportunity to do that. So this defense is not going to be one of the special Florida State defenses of all time, given some of the personnel problems we have at linebacker and depth issues we have along the defensive line. And, I
was wondering aloud yesterday, could you simplify what we're doing? And I guess that's the answer for now is yes. Yes, apparently we tried to do a little too much.
Well, I think on the defensive line they did. You saw a lot of movement there, a lot of slanting. I think you could really simplify it. I mean, I'm so tired of always having to simplify. That's all we talk about.
It's been the buzzword for a year plus. Yeah.
All we talk about is simplifying.
Going on 2 years once we get to December. But it's too complex. That's okay. We'll clean it up. We got this.
Well, obviously, that's very cynical, Tom. And I don't appreciate so early in the show That kind of cynicism.
I'd say Marvin Wilson, but unfortunately he's on the defense, so I can't.
It's the Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Champion Clinic.
Sorry, not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men on a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
News and updates from around the FSU football program. Tallahassee Game Day on 97.9 ESPN Radio is brought to you by Bud Light. Enjoy responsibly. By OnQ Financial. Mortgages Simplified. And by Hardee's. Hardee's, because it tastes better.
Down the sideline. At the pylon. Touchdown.
Tallahassee Game Day on your home for the best in Seminole sports talk. 97.9 ESPN Radio. Tallahassee Sports Monster.
Hi, I'm Jeff, founder of Which Superior Sandwiches, and I'm here to tell you about our signature witch, the Wicked. Why call it the Wicked? Some say it's wicked tasty, some say it's wicked large. One thing's for sure, with oven-roasted turkey, ham, pepperoni, roast beef, and bacon, as well as your choice of 3 cheeses, it definitely takes you from wicked hungry to wicked happy in just a few wicked good bites. Only at Which Superior Sandwiches.
On Wednesday, the Wicked is just $5. 5 meats, 3 cheeses, $5.
Hey, Jeff, what's going on, man?
Hello, Eddie. How the heck are you, buddy?
I'm okay. I guess we got to do this commercial.
Time for the bantering to begin.
Yeah, but you know what, Jeff? I want something different now.
You don't want to banter anymore.
I enjoy the banter. I do. But I want theme music, Jeff. Gordo's needs theme music.
Gordo's, the restaurant, the delicious food and the people and the atmosphere. Gordo's, not you personally, but Gordo's.
Yes,
I like
Gordo's, not me. I mean, of course, I would love to have people following me around playing music all the time.
Especially at Gordo's.
It's always in my head. But I need something for Gordo's. I need to have something special, something that, you know, heck, the King of the Hill has his own theme music. The Kids in the Hall. Why not me? Why not Gordo's?
Why not Gordo's? All right, I guess I'm going to be looking for some theme music.
You mean you're going to have Tom looking for some theme music?
Yeah, I heard that.
Yep, get on it, Tommy. Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
Cornerstone Tool and Fastener and Makita welcome back football season. And to kick it off, we are bringing the best deals of the year. Buy a brushless premium Makita 5-amp-hour kit. Get an instant $50 gift rebate and your choice of another bare tool free. Plus, we are adding in another 5-amp battery for free. That's 3 batteries and 3 tools. Check out our specials on cordless blowers, chainsaws, compressors, and so much more. Cornerstone Tool and Fastener, 1110 Stuckey Ave in Tallahassee and 3269 Crawfordville Highway. Tallahassee location open Saturdays, 8 a.m. to noon. Online at ctf.nu.
Barry knows cool. He's keeping you comfortable. Barry knows cool. You can put him to the test.
Deciding whether or not to fix something that has worked well for a long time can be a tough choice. When you turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air, we'll help you decide on whether to repair your existing system or consider new energy-efficient options. Book your repair or service appointment online in under a minute at baranoac.com. Florida license number CAC 1816186.
Get excited, Whataburger fans. Our one-of-a-kind mushroom Swiss burger is back.
And now it's an all-time favorite.
If you love mushrooms, you're gonna love this burger.
2 patties, 2 slices of Swiss cheese, 2 layers of mushrooms. These mushrooms are beautiful.
It's a really good balance between hearty and savory. That au jus sauce on top.
The creamy au jus sauce. It really sets it apart.
Just adds flavor that makes you go, wow. It is just absolutely amazing.
It's not just a mushroom Swiss burger, it's a Whataburger mushroom Swiss burger.
Cornerstone Tool and Fastener and Makita welcome back football season. And to kick it off, we are bringing the best deals of the year. Buy a brushless premium Makita 5-amp-hour kit. Get an instant $50 gift rebate and your choice of another bare tool free. Plus, we are adding in another 5-amp battery for free. That's 3 batteries and 3 tools. Check out our specials on cordless blowers, chainsaws, compressors, and so much more. Cornerstone Tool and Fastener, 1110 Stuckey Ave in Tallahassee and 3269 Crawfordville Highway. Tallahassee location open Saturdays, 8 a.m. p.m. to noon. Online at ctf.nu.
AAA Tree Experts has been a Tallahassee staple for over 35 years. But did you know they now offer landscaping? AAA landscaping services include custom outdoor landscape, creative landscape design and architecture, hardscapes, waterscapes, retention walls, and French drains, irrigation and sodding, landscape and holiday lighting. Call them today for all your outdoor landscaping needs. 850-385-3319 or visit them online at AAATreeExperts.net. AAA Tree Experts and Landscaping.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Not only are we excited, of course, about the return of football and the NFL getting underway tonight, but I would imagine coaches and players alike. And this was asked of Bill Belichick, who is in mid-season form, completely in character, a character I've grown to absolutely adore. You have to give him credit for being unwavering. He will not break character. I mean, this is even when the subject is something as general as, do you like football? Are you excited about football? You get this answer.
After all these years, you still get excited for the opening night?
Yeah, I like football. I like football season and all the things that go with it.
It's perfect. It's a perfect answer.
He's Sacha Baron Cohen.
It's unbelievable. He nails it.
He stays right there.
You can't move him. You're not going to get him to break character. Play it again.
After all these years, you still get excited for the opening night?
Yeah, I like football. I like football season and all the things that go with it.
Oh, that's so good. He even gives you the...
Do you think he says, watch this before he walks to his press conference to anybody?
Well, it would be fun. Like, I thought about that before, that if you decided to create this alter ego because you don't like having to do these interactions, these press Q&As, it's just part of the job and you're required to do it, you don't like it, and you decide, okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give as little as I possibly can in order to avoid getting fined. And once you create the persona, see, to me, that's far less annoying than what the Popovich persona is with sideline reporters. You know, when he's talking to Ledlow or anybody else, it's like now it's become a caricature of this thing. I mean, I love that he's willing to talk about every issue under the sun and has insightful commentary in his press conferences. But the way that he talks to sideline reporters, it's become a game. It's become a thing. Like, how over the top can I be in my disdain for this interaction? Belichick does it better than that. He's showing you nothing. There's no emotion whatsoever.
Yeah, if I was a sideline person for the NBA, I'd just say Beatles or Stones. Like, I'd ask him like three or four random questions about his own.
Yeah, you wouldn't even bother with it. Yeah, you'd play along with the gag, and he might actually like it, and it could be interesting. He might actually talk to you about the difference between, I don't know, Mick Jagger and John Lennon and Paul McCartney or something.
Will the Spurs win tonight?
So I don't know. But Belichick's thing is just.
After all these years, you still get excited for the opening night?
Yeah, I like football. I like football season and all the things that go with it.
And all the things that go with it. Yeah, well, I will say this. I wonder, we thought 2-3 years ago, was it right after the Eagles beat the Patriots by 1,000 in the Super Bowl? Wasn't that about the time that people began to speculate that it was all unraveling and that Bill was close to calling it a day and that Tom Brady would retire and we'd be moving on from all of this? And then,
there were thoughts that Bill was trying to
force
his
him
way
out
to the Giants, remember?
Yeah.
There was a theory that Belichick was trying to land back with the Giants and bring them back to prominence, all that stuff.
I do like, only people who are diehard football fans like to immerse themselves in these theoreticals and hypotheticals, I should say, about what a coach should be thinking or would be thinking or how you'd handle situations after having the kind of success that Nick Saban's had at Alabama or Bill Belichick has had at New England. Because we would all like to be in that position, where you're doing something you absolutely love. You're paid more than handsomely. Money's no object. It's just a matter of preference at that point because you could have any job that you absolutely wanted. Literally, those two guys could just make a phone call to their agent and say, float it out there to whatever team that I'd be interested in. That coach is likely fired, and they're hired immediately. I mean, almost immediately within the confines of, a contract buyout and all that, if they could do it.
Did you see the preview for the Belichick and Saban special that's coming to HBO?
I can't wait.
Yeah.
It's going to be awesome.
It's either going to be terribly bland or really insightful. And I think it's probably going to be the latter since the two of them are talking to each other.
I think it's going to be incredibly insightful. Listen, the Belichick Parcells documentary, 30 for 30 or whatever that was riveting. I mean, I really it was. You didn't think so?
No, I did. I was going to say it was awkward. That's why it was riveting. You're like, ooh, boy.
Yeah, I thought it was fascinating. But by the end, there seemed to be a mea culpa, a little bit of a, okay.
Yeah, maybe I could have done this. Yeah.
They both kind of.
I should have done that.
Right.
Yeah.
They were willing to concede that they both probably crossed the line and said some things they shouldn't have said.
Probably because they were forced to sit in the same room for hours, and they're like, oh, God.
No, it's true, though. I think, they were forced to sit in a room for hours, but also what happens when you go through the nostalgia of walking around a locker room and revisiting the successes that you had together and the moments where in your career the highlights occurred together or were allowed to happen because of your relationship and because of what you learned from each other and all of a sudden the big picture becomes a lot clearer and you realize that you've been harboring all this resentment over the 5 things that really pissed you off that he said about the 20 years you were you know what I mean?
Right,
yeah.
Right.
These 5 things bother me, but we did do all of this. And I did learn all of that.
Yeah, but it's the fact that those 5 things were said and that you hold them so against the other person.
It shows you how much you admire them.
Maybe. I was going to say that makes you a great coach. That gives you the ingredients to be a great coach. Because to be that motivated, to be as motivated as Saban, you have to find something.
Well, I think both are true, though. I think that there's no way that you could hold on to those things in a way that motivated you, pissed you off, saddened you, created an alter ego and everything else if you didn't seriously value the person's opinion. Like, I mean, we get emails daily from people we don't know that hate us, and I don't care. I don't think twice about it. If it's, you know what I mean?
So when we did the show a couple of weeks ago before the Libations Fest, we did the one out Corner Pocket the day before. Mm-hmm. Listener came up. He wanted to grab a photo. Really nice guy. And he said, I'm going to send this to my buddy because he hates you. And I was like, awesome. That's cool. Why? And he goes, because you're opinionated. I don't like Jeff very much, but I value your opinion. So we're on the opposite sides of the fence. And I'm like, okay.
How great is that? Yeah.
That's cool.
That means it's working.
I can't wait to send this to my buddy. He hates you. As we're taking the photo, I'm like, all right.
Yeah, over time, we were that was Lennon McCartney right there.
Yeah.
But I would just say this. The idea of somebody hating or loving, radio hosts is always interesting to me because they don't really know us.
Well, it's probably not hate in the sense either. I don't know that they're going to be,
correct,
throwing rocks through our front window.
Well,
like
don't give anybody any ideas, but yes, I think that's accurate.
True.
No, having said that, the Belichick-Saban thing I think is going to be very interesting, and I can't wait to watch it. They're both obviously, that's the funny thing too. We as fans do this. We quote unquote hate so and so or despise certain coaches or what. In truth, who would argue that anything other than Nick Saban and Bill Belichick are brilliant at their craft? I mean, it's evident. It's overwhelmingly evident as in they're the best 2 coaches in the history of the sport.
I think because of what you're talking about with Belichick, though, Saban is more insufferable than Belichick. Because Belichick would rather just shut it down and maybe be dismissive while he's doing it, but he's just, he's almost catatonic.
Oh, but the preachy nature in which Saban gets on
preach,
his soapbox and tell everybody how, well, he just did it this offseason when he prattled on about discipline with a kid. What would you have me do? Send him off in the streets, or would you rather have me? Imagine you say that about the guy that is going to be a starter for you and is a potential Butkus Award winner, but you don't say that about the third-string kid who screws up and doesn't go to class and maybe gets in trouble off the field. It's always a matter of convenience there, Nick.
Well, sure. And you don't have a Belichick post-game moment where he goes, so quit asking.
Right.
Yeah.
What in the hell are you doing, dude?
And Jimbo clearly gravitated towards Nick in that sense about the angry stuff, the preachy stuff. Whereas Belichick's just like, I don't care. care. We're on to Louisiana Monroe. Like, that makes Belichick, if you're just comparing the figures, you're like, Bill's got it a little bit more figured out, I think.
Well, let's apply it here for a second, okay? There's a lot going on. There's a lot of noise in the system, to use an old phrase. And I would tell you, that's only going to get worse if we continue to play poor, and there's going to be a daily article. There's going to be a daily commentary from a show host, as there was today with Chuck Oliver, which I'll address next hour. There's going to be somebody who's either taking a shot at the coach, the program, the situation, you name it. That's what happens when your program is losing. There's no way to get out from under that until you start winning. And if you go back to Dabo's early time at Clemson, where they got off to a shaky start, it got really bad to the point where he thought certainly he was going to be fired, has said that repeatedly, tells an interesting story about talking with his wife in the moment that he thought he was going to be dismissed. So things got that bad. He literally got the call from the athletic director and went, no, that's it, I'm going to get fired, and it sucks, And then he got a reprieve. He got an opportunity, and it worked out. And now we look at him in an entirely different light. But we were laughing at him back then. The word clown was frequently thrown around when discussing his antics on the sideline, his commentary to reporters, and the stupid stuff he did pregame.
He had Spurrier shoe marks on the back of his shirt for years.
It was hilarious, right? And, at that time, you thought this buffoon isn't going to make it. And then he did. He survived. He made some good decisions. It worked out. They began to win football games, and now he sits atop the college football world. And it seems like everything he does now is lauded as brilliant. Everything he says now is championed as proof that he has figured out the proper way to build and sustain a program of excellence. It can happen. It is rare that you get off to a really bad start in college football at a new job and then survive long enough to get out from under the avalanche of negativity. Willie's going to have to do that. And I do wonder how many more opportunities on the schedule he has, like, say, that Virginia game and a couple of others where if you could get a win, you could turn the corner. But back to what we were just talking about for a second. When you're dealing with all of that noise and there's a daily article or there's a question that rubs you the wrong way because something is implied, it's a weighted question about your time and your failures up to that point, really going the route of Belichick is the way to go. You do not want to give further ammunition to reporters and detractors when you're in the midst of losing football games. You're much better off being bland.
Yeah, I think the harder part, obviously, for Saban is you do need to do message control more because you're having to attract a new wave of kids every single year.
Sure.
So you have to stand up and control your message and try and redirect it. Whereas with Bill, he's had Brady since he's been there, so he's in good shape. And people will come for the two of them. And that's pretty much all you need.
And they keep winning.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So you don't have to attract a new group of a quarter of your roster every single year to want to come, and they're going to choose between you and the other three best teams in the NFL.
Sure.
So to give Saban a little bit of a break, that's probably why he does it.
That's exactly why he does it.
But still, if you address that and you could treat it as though it's not real from your perspective as a grown man, like, that's not a real thing. It doesn't matter to me. The chatter's always going to exist, independent of what I do.
Yes.
And it will change. It's a dependent variable.
Yes.
I am the one who's going to determine how they speak about me.
Well, and at that point, the ability to control your emotion, the ability not to give fodder, to add to your noise that we're describing, really becomes paramount because certainly internally you're dealing with all of that. You're frustrated, you're angry, you're sad, you're scared.
Yeah, that boiled to the surface yesterday, I think, so. In the Wednesday press availability.
It was awkward behavior.
Yeah.
It was awkward behavior.
Given the persona, because Willie's persona is more like Bill's. He gives you a little bit more. He's a little bit more honest.
Yeah.
But he's bland. Yesterday he was fiery by his standards.
Well, and it was an awkward attempt at humor and deflection and just it was, in my mind, unnecessary, but it did speak to a guy who I think
there was fury in those words.
He's feeling a lot of weight, yeah. And when you mean by fury, certainly isn't emotion in tone, but rather the need to address it and say what he said suggests he was enraged by that story.
Yeah, I think given the spectrum of his emotions and press availability, you could say that there was a lot of emotion in those words.
Mm-hmm.
That he wanted to make sure.
Well, the problem with it, though, Tom, again, it's a misstep. And I said it yesterday, I don't want to keep dwelling on this. Anybody can go back and watch what he said. I'm talking about the actual coach's show and the question as read by Gene. And his answer.
Yeah, it's online. You can watch it.
Yeah, and I have, and you have too.
Mm-hmm.
And no, there's nothing to be misconstrued there. It's not completely about Louisiana Monroe. So when you draw more attention to what you said and you quote certain parts of it, you're inviting more problems.
Right.
There's no reason to give this more life than it already had. And I just think that's a misstep, and it's the kind of mistake that's made when you're under a lot of pressure and you're feeling the weight of that. And so it has me concerned. That's the bigger thing here. It's not that he said it or that it was a misstep or that.
Yeah, it's the funny thing is the second wave of it almost makes you concerned in a way you weren't before.
Completely.
Yeah.
Completely. Yeah. That kind of revealed to me about, the weight and the magnitude of the pressures he's feeling now in the wake of a loss that you're up 18 points. And, it's just... It's a devastating loss. We had all offseason to talk about that game and the importance of that game, and I think everybody recognized it, and so did he, and then that happened. And I got to imagine they're reeling a little bit over there. Now, they get a reprieve this week in that you're going to win this game just because you have much better athletes, and it would be hard to lose it unless they quit. And at that point, it's a moot point because you're done. And I don't mean like after the game. I just mean you're
right. What are we doing here?
Yeah, what are we doing here? So assuming they show up and try hard, they're going to win the game.
They will.
I think so, too. I picked them, and I gave the points, and I feel good about that. But the point is you get that reprieve, but now you've put yourself into a position where the margin for error is very, very small, and you got a very important game going to Virginia. And I just don't – what I'm worried about with all of the outside noise and the frustrations of being 5-8 in your coaching career here in Tallahassee is, do you put too much pressure on yourself and on those kids, and do they feel the weight of that heading up to play a very important game? Can't play free when you're distracted by a lot of other things that have nothing to do with the X's and O's of that particular football game. And so if they have any shot at all of going up there and winning that game a week from Saturday, they're going to have to play free. They're going to have to play, in a way that they show confidence and belief in one another and what they're trying to do.
Make it a double birds tour. I don't care. Whatever it is.
Yeah.
I mean, there's plenty of ammunition for that. If you're trying to, as coaches, work the mindset of the team into madness, the controlled kind of madness you want. Be mad at us. Be mad at the fan.
Oh, be mad at whomever, yeah.
Be mad that there's 35,000 people in the stands. Whatever it takes.
Michael Jordan is walking around somewhere, probably in North Carolina, pissed off at anybody that looks at him in a weird way, thinking that they're disrespecting his game and his place in history. He probably can't turn that off. That's who he is.
She serves something else.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Basically burning his feet in the cryotherapy chamber, him going through the helmet ordeal, him missing team meetings, him going away from the team, him finding a helmet, and now him getting into an exchange with Mike Mack that looks like it's going to lead to him being suspended for at least Monday night's game against the Broncos, maybe longer.
Adam Schefter on the Stephen A. Smith Show. The new NFL season kicks off tonight with the Packers and the Bears in Chicago. And as the new season gets started, at Caesars Sportsbook, the Kansas City Chiefs are the favorite to win the Super Bowl at 6-1. Second choice, the Patriots at 6.5-1. The Saints are the favorite in the NFC at 8-1. The Bears are 9-1. Baseball, injury news from the Astros. Right-hander Aaron Sanchez will miss the rest of the season. He'll have surgery on his right shoulder. Outfielder George Springer will be out for a few games with a mild concussion. If you missed it, reliever Michael Lorenzen of the Reds got a win last night against the Phillies. He also hit a 2-run homer and finished the game playing center field. He's the first player in 98 years to get a win, hit a home run, and play outfield in the same game. The last to do it, Babe Ruth for the Yankees in 1921. Golfer Dustin Johnson, arthroscopic surgery today on his left knee. He's expected to be back on tour in the fall.
We all want more energy, more strength, more results. Well, welcome to Orange Theory Fitness as you take a step towards feeling more alive today. Backed by science, Orange Theory's heart rate monitored workout is scientifically designed to keep heart rates in a target zone, spiking metabolism and increasing energy. Orange Theory Fitness is a one-of-a-kind group personal training workout resulting in more energy, visible toning, and extra calorie burn for up to 36 hours. Experience a more vibrant life today with Orange Theory Fitness. To find out more, go to orangetheoryfitness.com.
Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram is the Jeep headquarters of America. We've purchased over 100 Jeep Renegades, and they've all arrived and are on the lot for immediate delivery. 2018 Jeep Renegade Latitude with MSRP starting at $25,120. On sale now for $18,870. That's a savings of $6,250. A new Jeep starting at only $18,870. Those prices are unheard of and can only be found at your Jeep headquarters of America, Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. No other dealer can offer you this kind of savings. We buy in mass quantities and pass along the savings to you. 2018 Jeep Renegade Latitude, starting at $18,870. Payments as low as $299 a month. On the corner of West Tennessee and Capitol Circle, where we're right on the corner and always right on the price. Check us out on the web at TallahasseeDCJ.com. All prices include rebates and incentives plus tax, title, and dealer fee. State number 18J605. Must finance through Chrysler Capital and qualify for all rebates and incentives.
Tallahassee loves the corner pocket as much as a crystal ball winning catch.
He's looking, he lost it to the end zone. It's Benjamin! Touchdown! With 13 seconds left!
The 97.9 ESPN radio special is a must-have every Monday and Wednesday at the corner pocket. 10 mouth-watering wings, a fresh side of fries, and a chilled domestic pint of beer are just $9.79 all day long. Be sure and try the fish blend of sauces, a true wing eater's favorite. The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.
He's gone!
Home of Trivia Tuesday, Beer Bingo Thursday, and the daily $7.99 lunch special.
Nicole had a rough week. On Monday, she spilled coffee on her new shirt.
Aw, man.
Tuesday, she stubbed her toe.
Ow.
Wednesday, she got a surprise visit from her in-laws. And Thursday, she got in a little fender bender. But Nicole turned things around with Fantasy 5 Bonus Cash Fridays from the Florida Lottery, offering 50% more payouts for Fantasy 5 every Friday in September. And your week with a win. The Florida Lottery. It's your ticket.
Claim it.
Must be 18 or older to play. Play responsibly.
A Sport Clips Championship haircut experience makes you feel like your hair has its own walk-up music. Maybe you play sports. Maybe you play sports online. Or maybe your sport is keeping up with your kids. Your hair deserves its own walk-up music. And at Sport Clips, we make it easy. A game-changing cut from a stylist trained for guys while you're surrounded by sports. Hair this good needs no introduction, but you'll want one anyway. So download the app, check in, and get your hair in the game.
Hardee's new 2-3 More breakfast menu is as easy as a walk in the park. $2 gets you a pair of cinnamon and raisin biscuits or a savory sausage biscuit. $3 gets you a tasty bacon, egg, and cheese on a made-from-scratch biscuit. And $4 gets you a hearty breakfast platter loaded with sausage and other breakfast classics. In fact, the new 2-3 More menu may even be simpler than a walk in the park. It's more like a walk in an airport, where they have those sidewalks that move for you. Pilots have it made. The new Hardee's 2-3 More menu. Offer available for a limited time during regular breakfast hours at participating Hardee's restaurants. Price and participation may vary. Tax not included.
This is Sarah's O'Reilly Auto Parts story.
Driving cross-country with 2 young children is ambitious, to say the least. Then our check engine light came on. We pulled into O'Reilly Auto Parts and they tested it. Turned out it was a faulty sensor. They referred us to a great mechanic just down the street, and we were back on the road in no time.
O'Reilly Auto Parts. Broadcasting live from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee. This is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Redemption Thursday, brought to you by Cornerstone Tool and Fastener. Got a do-it-yourself project that needs to be finished? Cornerstone Tool and Fastener, 1110 Stuckey Avenue in Tallahassee and 3269 Crawfordville Highway. Online at ctf.nu.
That guy is an impossible, very talented, irascible dumbass. And if you had him in your fantasy league, you're not pleased.
I saw that O.J. Simpson is not pleased about Antonio Brown's issues.
Did he post?
He did. He posted another video. Those are all scary. I don't like them. They haunt me. You watch those and you think, my God, if he was in the presence of the person he's talking to, I don't know what would happen.
You think he's got another job in him?
Yeah. I think he's still a sociopath, yes, so I think he's got a little bit of work left in him, sure.
I hear you paint houses. That's right.
When does that come out? November?
Yeah, pretty soon.
You saw the Joker movie got, people have seen it in film festivals.
Ah.
And it's apparently fantastic.
It looks disturbing enough. I'm pleased. I like the more, sinister the better.
That's what the word is. That it's
Menacing.
sinister, it's unrelenting.
Yeah, I want to be uncomfortable.
The barriers are broken a little bit, and you go, whoa.
Well, I like to be uncomfortable. It's been a while. If you do it right, it can be exceptional. All right. I'm going to make an exception.
Scored a victory for, the comic book nerds.
Rare, yeah.
Even though it's a piece of art. And
Yeah,
not,
this will be much better than
dots
those
on a
stupid movies. Yeah.
Newspaper
Instead of
page.
just running around kicking each other and then waiting 20 minutes and doing it again.
Pow.
So yeah, there is that. I would also, golly, I was just thinking about how silly. It's just amazing me. OJ's posting every day, but yeah, if I were a Raiders fan right now, oh my God. If they go after his $30 million, he'll never play for them, and obviously we'll go through this saga again because somebody will sign him.
Oh, definitely.
He's impossible. I would hate.
Arizona will sign him. They'll pair him with Kyler.
Oh, great. Good luck. I can't. I just cannot fathom.
Did you see the OJ video for Andrew Luck when he retired?
No.
Okay, so this is like a skit, and I won't get into the actual video because they're all about the same. He just rambles. But the video starts, I think intentionally, in a room where there's a draft going on. It looks like there might be poker chips on tables or whatever.
Right.
But the camera pans across the room, and then it arrives at OJ. So it was like he told somebody to say,
yeah.
You know what, let's just have this shot of all these TVs in the background and some love seats and couches, and then I want you to pan and arrive at me so that I can make my point about Andrew Luck. It's like something out of SNL.
Speaking of, football and the games starting tonight, which is nice, and I mentioned Antonio Brown and how devastated you might be as a fantasy owner, and plenty of others watching this situation in Cleveland very closely, as Odell Beckham Jr. Said today that his injured hip continues to be a bother for him, and he continues to try to prep for the season opener. This is something I've had to deal with. It's like an extremely fast car with a little alignment or something that's off. It's right in the center of what you need. Now, the car can still go, but it's dangerous, but you know what I mean? So it's just something I've been trying to figure out in and out of rehab every single day. Never really dealt with anything quite like this before. Great. I do have him. I'm going to need him. I'm going to need him.
Do?
Yeah, I do.
I stayed away.
No, I do have him. Well, if he's healthy, he's going to have a huge year.
I feel like, and he was hurt coming into the season, and he's still available in a lot of leagues, but I feel like Njoku is going to have a good year because you have to cover the perimeter. So wouldn't you think shots up the seam are going to be open for business?
Well, it's a little bit like understanding the role that Godwin's going to play for the Bucs and get in the amount of targets he's going to get.
That
right?
fascinates me, yes, because he's going to have body armor for the shots he's going to take. Because over the middle is over the middle of the NFL before you get into the fact that Jameis likes to throw over the middle and into harm. And so
thing is, he throws accurate.
Right,
in
but
the middle. He's not.
Jameis is undeterred if there's a closing safety though.
He's not worried about
He's
your
not-
safety.
No.
He wants to make this play.
Because I do have Godwin. I'm like, okay, if his ribs aren't broken and he's not
going to have
concussed,
a big year.
he'll probably have 110 targets. So, I mean, the raw numbers alone from there should be fine.
Yeah, I think this opening week is fascinating. Speaking of which, as we get set to launch and try to figure out what's what, you can never really do it. That's why we always laugh about overreaction Monday after the first week of the NFL season. Yeah. It's at an all-time high with hot takes. But, the thing about the NFL, which we have learned a lot over the years, outside of a couple of teams that you can kind of just pencil in, it's a week-to-week league with matchups. That's all that is. There are games where one of the best teams in the league from a talent standpoint just doesn't show up. Bad week of practice, bad matchup on the perimeter, something happens. It's a week-to-week league. And I find it incredibly difficult early on when I look at something like Green Bay at Chicago tonight. If I were looking at that number, I think it's 3.5. I can't touch that game. I have no idea. Green Bay's handled Chicago during Aaron Rodgers' time relatively easily. I think he's got a gaudy record against the Bears, and yet that's a great defense at home, rivalry game, first of the year, wouldn't touch it. And then on down the list, there are so many. I mean, I'm actually intrigued by, I don't know how many people are. I'm going to be keeping a close eye on that Jacksonville defense. They've got a quarterback now. How well do they play against Kansas City this weekend? I don't think you can assume Kansas City in week 1 is going to go into Jacksonville and light them up. I don't think so.
A lot of butt sweat.
Oh, yeah, man. I don't think – I'm telling you, I think that game is relatively close in the second half, in the fourth quarter.
How much weight do you think Andy Reid loses on Sunday?
I can never tell because he wears a jacket whether it's 100 degrees or not. He always seems to have a pullover. It's weird. It's like Mike Martin Jr. with that jacket he wears at third base, and it's 105 degrees outside. But Junior's
I do that on the golf course.
I don't get any of you guys.
So then I'll tell you from experience, and then let's see, I'll do the multiplication of he's twice as much as I weigh.
Yeah,
I'm not
easily.
light. He'll probably lose 15 to 20 pounds.
That's ridiculous.
Easy.
Wear a damn coach's polo and be done with it so you don't die, sir. The only games I feel very good about, forthcoming ass kickings are Dallas should dominate the Giants, sorry ass. The Dolphins are awful. They're going to struggle to win a game or two this year. They're just terrible.
I think one of those coaches' polos might be like the size of 4 squares of the soundproof behind you.
Who else can I consider to be just dreadful? Cincinnati's dreadful. Cincinnati will be
Cincinnati.
Yeah. Taking Seattle, giving the 9. 9's a lot for an NFL game, man.
Where is it?
Seattle.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to pound Cincinnati. I agree.
I think so.
They've
got
too.
a running game. There's a lot to like about Seattle this season, especially now they've got
I don't disagree with you.
weapon on the D-line.
First game of the year.
Jadeveon.
I'm not happy about it, Tom. We don't need to celebrate Seattle's successes. We could have picked up Jadeveon Clowney.
But we can celebrate their successes by picking them and reaping the rewards ourselves.
Oh, man. Other than that, how good a game do we get? Sunday night, Steelers-Patriots. Here we go.
Are the Steelers still good?
That's a good one. Probably pretty good. Not great.
Everybody's
good.
assuming Juju's going to just take over, and these numbers are going to be
he's a really
incredible.
Good player.
He's alone now, though. He's the alpha.
Hour number 2, fourth. Come stay with.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
AAA Tree Experts has been a Tallahassee staple for over 35 years. But did you know they now offer landscaping? AAA landscaping services include custom outdoor landscape, creative landscape design and architecture, hardscapes, waterscapes, retention walls, and French drains, irrigation and sodding, landscape and holiday lighting. Call them today for all your outdoor landscaping needs. 850-385-3319 or visit them online at AAATreeExperts.net. AAA Tree Experts and Landscaping.
Wahoo Seafood Grill, Tallahassee's leader in fresh seafood, is located right behind the Best Western on North Monroe. Lunch specials start at $7.99. Be sure to try their award-winning house-made burger. Big lunch parties are also welcome. Wahoo Seafood Grill makes lunch specials a very affordable choice. Delivery is available and plenty of parking. Wahoo Seafood Grill, easy access from any part of town using I-10. Visit them online at wahooseafoodgrill.com or call them today at 850-629-4059.
Cornerstone Tool and Fastener in Makita welcome back football season. And to kick it off, we are bringing the best deals of the year. Buy a brushless premium Makita 5-amp-hour kit, get an instant $50 gift rebate, and your choice of another bare tool free. Plus, we are adding in another 5-amp battery for free. That's 3 batteries and 3 tools. Check out our specials on cordless blowers, chainsaws, compressors, and so much more. Cornerstone Tool and Fastener, 1110 Stuckey Ave in Tallahassee and 3269 Crawfordville Highway. Tallahassee location open Saturdays, 8 a.m. to noon. Online at ctf.nu.
Hi, I'm Aaron Allen.
And I'm Sam Nunnally. Have you experienced a mortgage nightmare before? Endless paperwork, weird requests from underwriters and lenders who won't call you back?
Then there's OnQ. We're bringing the mortgage experience out of the dark ages. Friendly local lenders, a digital experience with very little paperwork, upfront pre-approvals, and guaranteed closing times.
Break up with tradition and enjoy hometown service with the speed of Silicon Valley.
OnQ Financial, mortgages simplified. 850-807-0019.
Aaron Allen, NMLS 1215669, Florida LO 61933. Sam Nunnally, NMLS 1422328, Florida LO 54032. OnQ Financial Link is an equal housing lender, NMLS 5645, Florida MLD 1131. This is not a commitment to lend. Underwriting terms and conditions apply.
Tee it up at Edwin Watts Golf Shops this year with the new 2019 fall arrivals. Introducing the strikingly new T-Series irons from Titleist, featuring the T100 iron designed as a player's iron, the T200 iron, a player's distance iron, and the T300 iron, the complete game improvement iron. All pure Titleist. Let us help you find the right set and get custom fit today. Just a few of the new releases you'll find at Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home with a 90-day 100% satisfaction guarantee, serving golfers since 1968.
Driving every day from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat Studios. This is 97.9 ESPN Radio, WTSM, Woodville, Thomasville, Tallahassee.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Doug Brown with breaking news from the NFL. ESPN's Adam Schefter reports Raiders wideout Antonio Brown will be suspended by the team.
Raiders general manager Mike Mayock and wide receiver Antonio Brown got into it, had to be separated, heated words, heated exchange. Antonio Brown's been sent home. The team is planning to suspend him. It's the latest chapter in a summer full of them, with him basically burning his feet in the cryotherapy chamber, him going through the helmet ordeal, him missing team meetings, him going away from the team, him finding a helmet, and now him getting into an exchange with Mike Mayock that looks like it's going to lead to him being suspended for at least Monday night's game against the Broncos, maybe longer.
Adam Schefter on the Stephen A. Smith Show. The new NFL season kicks off tonight with the Packers and the Bears in Chicago. And as the new season gets started, at Caesars Sportsbook, the Kansas City Chiefs are the favorite to win the Super Bowl at 6-1. Second choice, the Patriots at 6.5-1. The Saints are the favorite in the NFC at 8-1. The Bears are 9-1. Baseball, injury news from the Astros. Right-hander Aaron Sanchez will miss the rest of the season. He'll have surgery on his right shoulder. Outfielder George Springer will be out for a few games with a mild concussion. If you missed it, reliever Michael Lorenzen of the Reds got a win last night against the Phillies. He also hit a 2-run homer and finished the game playing center field. He's the first player in 98 years to get a win, hit a home run, and play outfield in the same game. The last to do it, Babe Ruth for the Yankees in 1921. Golfer Dustin Johnson, arthroscopic surgery today on his left knee. He's expected to be back on tour in the fall.
Broadcasting live from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee. This is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Redemption Thursday, brought to you by Cornerstone Tool and Fastener. Got a do-it-yourself project that needs to be finished? Cornerstone Tool and Fastener, 1110 Stuckey Avenue in Tallahassee and 3269 Crawfordville Highway. Online at ctf.nu.
Hour number 2, Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. You guys cracked me up. Somebody just sent me a video of a monster throwing kids around Hell's Half Acres here and wants me to guarantee that I can get him to commit to Florida State. I'll try to call it, Joshua. Thank you. Always a fun video to look at right before you come on the air. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you go to listen live via the streaming free. Always. Don't miss anything. If you do, go back, get caught up at your leisure. We'll post all 3 hours upon the conclusion, both to iTunes and our own audio vault as well. You can email us, jcs at 979espnradio.com. On Twitter, it's at jcameron.show. WTSM app, good for your mobile devices. Redemption Thursday wagers coming at you in just a moment. Hello, YouTubers and Periscopers. Again, the weird angle today as we get a camera fixed, but at least you can see the show as you're accustomed to doing. Not quite. No shots of Tom.
Well, they see the show. That matters.
They do. They see the show. Syracuse +2 against Maryland. I threw it in there. I think it's a weird game, but I did it. Ohio State -16 against Cincinnati. Cincinnati got the win for me against UCLA. Who doesn't beat UCLA these days? But I kind of felt really uncomfortable with it. By the way, that's a play. I failed to put it on here. Pull up that UCLA game, Tom, on Vegas Insider. Tell me what that number is. We may get value on UCLA this weekend. Ohio State -16 against Cincinnati. I did it. Cincinnati got that win. I didn't like the way they played. Give me Ohio State to blow them out. Nebraska -4 at Colorado. That's less about Nebraska, more about Colorado. The big game of the weekend, well, one of 2 big games of the weekend. I didn't love the other one, so I chose this one. I'll take the 17.5 at Clemson if I'm Texas A&M. I'm not sure that A&M is keeping this close in the fourth quarter, but I think they can keep it within 17. So the hook convinced me to go ahead and go with it. Did you find it? What you got?
I did. It's UCLA -7.5 against San Diego State. That game is in L.A.
Yeah, they're going to win the game. I don't like the hook. I was hoping to get that at 7 or below. I may play it anyhow. That's San Diego State was terrible. I think
or Pasadena rather, but you get the point.
Yeah. Well, lovely backdrop for a bad program. They get to
Unbelievable.
They get to play in paradise every week. They could just play an awful brand of football. I can't believe we rode through that neighborhood not once but twice, my friend.
Well, when your program is firing in all cylinders,
when you're kicking ass,
it takes you
places like that.
Now, this year, if you look at some of the bowl projections, El Paso is on the list of potential landing spots for Florida State.
Nope. I'll say it right now. If they announce that we're going to El Paso, I ain't going.
What if they moved it to El Segundo?
I left my wallet. Stanford +1 at USC. I'll take Stanford in a virtual pick'em. Oh, have I not mentioned that I'm going to take the mighty Noles and give 22 points to Louisiana Monroe? Here we go, Florida State with a big win.
I can feel it all the way down in my plums.
Let's tidy it up, boys. Let's make sure we're assignment sound, everybody. Assignment sound. And let's light up a Louisiana Monroe team that I think is going to struggle mightily to defend this Kendall Briles offense. I believe that. That's the essence of this pick. A lot of points going to be scored on Saturday for the Noles. So if you endure the 98-degree heat and the 5 o'clock kickoff, which isn't noon, but 98 at 5 will hurt your feelings.
Yeah, 4:30 when you're there for the band and everything.
Anyhow, if you endure that, you're going to see a lot of points scored for the Noles.
Listen, the good news anyway is that last week was general admission. This week is kind of like that. You're going to have some space in the shade, I think.
What do you think tickets are going for outside the stadium at around 4 o'clock, 4:30?
Free.
You don't think
$5?
$5? Yeah.
I mean, you know.
guys, if you like to go to the Florida State games and you don't often get an opportunity, either the tickets are a little pricey for your liking or you don't like huge crowds, these last 2 weeks, this one and the one last week, this is your time. Tickets are next to nothing, plenty of room available, and I'd take them up on that right now. Maybe you got your kids or something like that you want to go over there. I'm serious. Do it. I mean, get your spot in the shade, and I think it'll be all right.
It'll be all right. Everything's going to be fine. You bring $50, it'll cover a family of 4 plus all the concessions you could possibly want.
Probably. I don't know about concessions, Tom. But, yeah, you should be all right. Stanford, USC, I took the under 45 as well. Penn State minus 29.5 against sunny Buffalo. SUNY.
Sunny Buffalo.
I like to say sunny Buffalo. Washington minus 13.5 against Cal. I like that number. 2 NFL games. We welcome back the NFL tonight. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. No, I'm not touching that Packers-Bears game. I find that absolutely fascinating. The game, that is. New offense, new head coach in Green Bay, presumably a new offense, obviously. By the way, LaFleur is riding the coattails of McVay in the biggest way possible. The guy was the offensive coordinator at Tennessee. How did he get the head coaching job at Green Bay? Because he's good friends with Sean McVay. Because Tennessee's offense sucked. Why would you parlay that into a head coaching job? I mean, maybe he does a great job. We'll see. He's got a legitimate quarterback now.
Probably because he agrees with Aaron Rodgers' philosophies, and he can just say, go ahead. All right. We'll hire a good defensive coordinator comes in here. Aaron, your call, baby.
Well, I'm going to tell Aaron to run the damn ball. Now, I will say this. Aaron did complain last year about not running the ball enough, so I give him credit. He did complain that they weren't running the ball enough, which is kind of surprising for an egomaniac like him. Detroit minus 2.5 against Arizona. I don't believe in Arizona. I think their offensive line's a train wreck. I think that philosophically they've got it all wrong. It's the wrong head coach, the wrong quarterback, all coupled with a line that couldn't block you and me. It spells doom for the season. Maybe they'll win their home opener. Maybe they'll throw the kitchen sink at him. Maybe people won't know how to handle this offense the first 2 to 3 weeks, but once they adjust, that kid's going to get killed. I like him. He seems eminently likable as a human being. He's 4 feet tall. This is not going to get it done. You're going to have that kid. First of all, for you to be successful with that offense, he has to run. He has to run or be free to run. Okay. Good luck. Good luck with that. Running around in this league at $1.90. I just. Anyhow, so I'm taking Detroit, Tom.
I see.
Minus 2.5
Detroit
there.
it is.
And then finally Cleveland, and I'm sick of Cleveland, but I'll take them giving 5.5. I want your night against Tennessee. I want your nightmare scenario to play out. I know you keep bringing up the fact that there's a distinct possibility things could go south there in Cleveland, and if they do, it will be a wonderful disaster to lay eyes upon.
Everybody, I mean, you talk about all of the TV programs, like the normal ones, like NFL Game Day Morning, where there's, robust debate and good guests, or First Take, where they just want to shout at each other like they're cable news.
Right.
Either one. Hell, it might even make cable news that the Browns are terrible. Everybody's ready to talk about them one way or the other.
Well, and their head coach is a doofus. I don't know, man. Kitchens? I don't. You buying that guy?
I don't know enough about him
yet.
He
was a special teams coach. What do we?
He's one of those, man. He's one of those, anonymous NFL head coaches that I might not know more about when he gets fired or extended. I just know he's there.
Well, they have a lot of talent, and I get why the public loves them. But man, I don't know. Let's see. I mentioned before they may want to make the playoffs before I start penciling in a Super Bowl appearance. That's.
I'm just glad that all the TV screens are going to be full this weekend.
On football starting tonight. Woo! Go ahead and say it.
No, I couldn't say what I was going to say. But I'll thank the deities. Well, how about that?
The football gods.
There's going to be an expletive in between.
Damn right.
Have you ever felt the pain so powerful, so heavy?
Now's the time to find your color, your paint, and everything to get started during Labor Day savings at the Home Depot. Get the right paint for the right price. Save $10 on 1 gallon and $40 off free and 5-gallon buckets of paints and stains. Like Behr Premium Plus Interior, rated #1 in customer satisfaction by J.D. Power. Now starting at $14.98 after rebate for a limited time only at the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. Offer valid through September 8th via online or mail-in rebate. Limit 25 gallons per household. U.S. only. See store for details.
This is Sarah's O'Reilly Auto Parts story.
Driving cross country with 2 young children is ambitious, to say the least. Then our check engine light came on. We pulled into O'Reilly Auto Parts and they tested it. Turned out it was a faulty sensor. They referred us to a great mechanic just down the street and we were back on the road in no time.
O'Reilly Auto Parts. Barry knows cool. He's keeping you comfortable. Barry knows cool. You can put him to the test.
You can't protect against everything life has in store, but you can sure try. When you turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air, we help you protect your investment with regular maintenance options that can keep your system safe. Receive same-day service when you sign up for the Total Comfort Service Program at baranoac.com. Florida license number CAC 1816186.
Hi, Chris Kraft for Kraft Nissan. Look around. That's right, you see Nissans everywhere. Tallahassee has officially become a Nissan town. The Kraft Nissan town. Why? Because Kraft Nissan has the best pricing, best selection, and the best buying experience in town. And at Kraft Nissan, you get the best value for your dollar. With more standard features, our exclusive and the original lifetime warranty, our easy choice menu that gives you a price and payment in writing, our new For You program that helps people with damaged credit, and every new Altima and Rogue we sell has both special interest rates and rebates. You get both, plus $1,000 over Kelley Blue Book for your trade. Best of all, my people are the best in the business. They will greet you with a smile and a handshake, and they know your time is valuable. My managers are always accessible, and of course, you can always ask for me or my brother Peter. Bottom line, if you need a new or pre-owned car, you need to experience the Kraft Nissan difference. Great people, great product, great price, with the best car buying experience in town. Kraft Nissan on Mahan Drive between Academy Sports and Costco. Remember, if you don't see the Kraft tag on your car, you paid too much, way too much.
Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram is the Jeep headquarters of America. We've purchased over 100 Jeep Renegades, and they've all arrived and are on the lot for immediate delivery. 2018 Jeep Renegade Latitude with MSRP starting at $25,120, on sale now for $18,870. That's a savings of $6,250. A new Jeep starting at only $18,870. Those prices are unheard of and can only be found at your Jeep headquarters of America, Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. No other dealer can offer you this kind of savings. We buy in mass quantities and pass along the savings to you. 2018 Jeep Renegade Latitude starting at $18,870. Payments as low as $299 a month. On the corner of West Tennessee and Capitol Circle, where we're right on the corner and always right on the price. Check us out on the web at TallahasseeDCJ.com. All prices include rebates and incentives plus tax, title, and dealer fees. State number 18J605. Must finance through Chrysler Capital and qualify for all rebates and incentives.
Tallahassee loves the corner pocket as much as a crystal ball winning catch.
He's looking, he lost it to the end zone. It's Benjamin! Touchdown! With 13 seconds left.
The 97.9 ESPN radio special is a must-have every Monday and Wednesday at the corner pocket. 10 mouth-watering wings, a fresh side of fries, and a chilled domestic pint of beer are just $9.79 all day long. Be sure and try the fish blend of sauces, a true wing eater's favorite. The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.
He's gone!
Home of Trivia Tuesday, Beer Bingo Thursday, and the daily $7.99 lunch special.
Text Fan Cave to 66555 and enter to win an ultimate Fan Cave experience from Bud Light, an over $1,500 prize giveaway. Text Fan Cave to 66555 or visit tryeaglesales.com. Must be 21 or older. Please drink responsibly. A message from local beverage distributor Tri-Eagle Sales.
Get excited, Whataburger fans. Our one-of-a-kind mushroom Swiss burger is back.
And now it's an all-time favorite.
If you love mushrooms, you're going to love this burger.
2 patties, 2 slices of Swiss cheese, 2 layers of mushrooms. These mushrooms are beautiful.
It's a really good balance between hearty and savory. That au jus sauce on top.
The creamy au jus sauce. It really sets it apart.
Just adds flavor that makes you go, wow. It is just absolutely amazing.
It's not just a mushroom Swiss burger. It's a Whataburger mushroom Swiss burger.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show. Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
If I were promoting them the way that a cheeseball promoter would, I'd say, you've heard this song right here. Crank it. Yeah, that's St. Paul and the Broken Bones. You've heard them on The Late Show with David Letterman, Jimmy Kimmel Live, Conan, Late Night with Seth Meyers, Austin City Limits, The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. And now you can hear them here in Tallahassee as they tour for the band's new album, Young, Sick, Camilla. As part of opening nights, yeah, it's Monday, September the 16th, Ruby Diamond Concert Hall. And they're really good. Tom and I just went and saw them last summer.
It was December.
It wasn't December at all, Jeff. It was December. You have no idea what you're talking about.
I think it was a Friday night, maybe? Yeah, it was a Friday night.
I knew it was a Friday night.
It was the day before Army-Navy, when Army whooped that ass again.
I don't know the things in which I do and where I go and what time of month it is. I don't know. But I was there. We went and saw this wonderful band in December, and all of their albums are fantastic. Half the City, you guys remember that? Sea of Noise. And now the latest with this little number. That said, they're here, so we're going to give you tickets. There you go. That's the kind of badassery that goes on right here on the Jeff Cameron Show. Caller 2. 523-3776, 523-3776 for tickets to see St. Paul and the Broken Bones. Don't call if you can't go. September the 16th, that's a Monday, 7:30 p.m. I assure you, you'll enjoy the show. They're really freaking good. Really good.
And what we're going to do, just so you know, folks, as you winning callers probably already speaking to us, but giving you an email address. We're going to take your email address so you get linked up directly with opening nights. You don't have to come here. Ticket's going to be ready for you. You're welcome.
It's a thing of beauty. 523-376. Oh, it's already been picked up. Okay. There you go. So that's in little St. Paul and the Broken Bones. I can't believe it's 11 days away. All right. Is that right? Yeah, 11 days away.
Yeah, you'll be fresh from the beautiful sights, the vista of Charlottesville, back in Tallahassee. What's your schedule for that anyway? I probably should ask this off the air, but when are you flying out? Friday morning?
I think I'm going to fly out Thursday.
You don't have your flight book yet?
No.
Oh.
I'm not worried about it. I'll fly. I'll get a cheap flight out of Jacksonville or something. Just don't leave. You don't go from Tallahassee. You're okay. You can get normal flights out of anywhere but Tallahassee.
Within a week?
All right. It's more than a week. Hell, it's a good bit more than a week.
It's a week and a few hours?
Yeah. But I'm going to book it today. My wife asked me this morning, have you booked your flight? No. She shook her head. I think she may have whispered under her breath that I was an ass and then said, I'll see you tonight.
How's she feeling?
Not good. Not good. Better today than yesterday where she was down for the count. I walked in, gave her the good stuff, the Sudafed from behind the counter.
Oh, the Sudafed.
And I said, here's some drugs. You know, they ask you when you get those drugs whether or not you're going to use them for meth.
They have to ask you that question?
Yeah, the guy asked me yesterday. It was me and Bryce after I left here. I went to our favorite Publix. I don't know why they don't advertise with us. We bring it up all the time. I went to Publix. I waited in the little line there. The guy said, how can I help you? I said, I need the good drugs, which he didn't even chuckle at. And then I said, well, the Sudafed, the behind-the-counter Sudafed, not this nonsense out here that doesn't help anybody, but the powerful Sudafed you got back there. That's what I need because my wife is sick. And he said, okay, come over here, sign this thing. Give me your ID. They check it big time. He made me take my hat off so he could see my bald head.
Really?
Well, I mean, they're serious about this stuff, Tom.
Well, liability is a hell of a thing.
And then I did my part, and then I said, he said, you're not going to cook meth with this, are you? You're not going to turn this into meth. And I said, no. He goes, well, then you need to sign this that says that's not what you're going to do. I had to sign the thing, did that, got my drugs, and it was over with. It was beautiful.
Wow. So I'm looking, it's going to be a decent penny for the flight.
600?
No, 542.
That's not bad at all.
Yeah. But you might want to jump on that now because the other airline is 824. So.
Well, 542 action.
542.
From Jacksonville?
From Jayville. It's only $110 more to do Tallahassee at that point.
Probably just do the extra 110 and fly out to Tallahassee. Yeah.
That's a Friday to Sunday trip.
I want out on Thursday, Tom.
You want out on Thursday?
Yeah, I can save a little money that way.
All right, let me click that into the system here. 514 out of Jayville?
No, out of Tallahassee.
Out of Tally? Woo. No, it's a non-starter.
No.
I'm not even going to put that number out
Don't put it
there.
out there. Don't even talk about it. All right, 514 out of Jacksonville.
That big airline that goes through Atlanta all the time, $1,265.
Whoa, what are you guys doing? That's absurd. This is round trip, Tom. 5-something round trip, right?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Yeah. All right. Well, I'll be there. I may be bearing witness. I may be the guy that is there. You think about me. You guys think about me when you're watching that game on the ACC network and you're watching Florida State trounce Virginia and the corner has turned and the celebration there amongst the fans, mouths agape, as they are stunned to see their dreams of any success in the ACC thrown out the window on a night in which they thought for certain they were going to rout the Garnet and Gold. That's it. You think about it. Jeff's there. He's watching the moment, the signature win for Willie Taggart. We watched it here on television. He watched it there live, loyal as he is.
So the corner is turned should be the tweet if we win that game.
That's what I'll say.
And we need somebody who's got good skills. This isn't very hard. I could do it, just don't want to. But you have a street corner, and you have the spear, and it rounds the corner.
Okay, somebody do that. When I post it, when I say the corner has turned after a 38-13 win, you make sure somebody take my tweet, doctor it up a little bit.
Or they send it to you now.
Send it to me now, and I can have it and post it. Sure, okay, do that. JCS at 979, ESPNradio.com. The corner has turned. I'll do it by the stadium, by the columns, right there in Virginia. Maybe even take a little video, Tom. I'll take a video and post it there.
Just say
in the stands.
And all it says is the corner has turned.
The corner has turned. I'll be in
Harbaugh cares deeply, and the corner has turned.
The corner has turned. And that would be a big – now, I could also be there at that game to witness the end, the beginning of the end, the most certain tragic ending to a very brief run. Yeah, I could be.
Stuck on the corner.
Yeah, still stuck here on the corner. Not turning. Just stuck here. Not even on the precipice. I'm going to back away from the corner. We're not close to this corner. We're ways away from
I'm
this
living
corner.
the wire.
I'm
stuck on the corners.
I'm stuck on the corner. Can't get out. Don't know what I'm going to do. I feel like selling crack. We're at that point. We're that kind of down. Well, this would be a return to the back alleys, trying to sleep it off while Wake Forest walks by and kicks you in the face and giggles, while Virginia, NC State, other also-rans decide to come on by and kick dirt in your face.
The Wake Forest person undoubtedly has an I Love Grove shirt. That's all it says.
Oh, yeah. And there we lay, dressed in garnet and gold, spat upon, holding on to the crack pipe next to the dumpster. There we are. We have not figured it out.
I envision the sparkly guys, in the stands. The guys that do the garnet.
You want them
gold,
to be laying next to the
the
dumpster?
ones that are laying there, and there's a trail of garnet and gold sparkles that lead into the alley.
Yeah. Where'd Florida State go? They're still back in the alley. Just follow the glitter.
Yeah, glitter. Yeah. That's what I was called, the sparklies.
Follow the glitter. They're back there, no doubt. Probably passed out. You can get a shot in on them if you want. They're done.
A couple of brown paper bags. What's in them? I can't tell you.
Yeah, you don't want to know.
You probably don't want to know.
It's heartbreaking, the thought of it, man. It's just heartbreaking, man. I'm so frustrated. Can you imagine? I'm not as frustrated yet as right now. Here we are, the eve of the NFL's first game. Well, it's not the eve. It's happening tonight. And you have a situation developing, as we said in the first hour, if you missed it, in which Antonio Brown is likely to be suspended to start the year. If you go back to a report I'm reading now from Schwab's article on Yahoo Sports, it was originally, a Schefter tweet?
Schefter tweet, and then Rappaport jumps right on top of it, as they do. They get in those little wars.
Well, and Vic Tafur of The Athletic is reporting that Antonio Brown had to be held back by teammates because he was attempting to attack Mike Mayock.
So, when Adam Schefter said it got ugly and Ian Rappaport parroted that it got ugly, that's what they mean. It came essentially to fisticuffs.
Yeah, he speculated the Raiders could look into going after Brown's, Ian Rappaport, the aforementioned, speculated that the Raiders could go in and go after Brown's $30 million in guaranteed money.
You can what? You can trigger conduct, detrimental to the team. which is like firing somebody for cause in college.
Yeah, for cause, yeah. Now, that game, by the way, between the Broncos and the Raiders is not till Monday night. So
it's the second of the doubleheader, yeah.
Yeah, you've got a little bit of time, I guess. It's this constant complaining that is leading to, obviously, this situation. He, meaning Antonio Brown, publicly complained about a fine that he got for skipping a team walkthrough. That fine was for $14,000. He posted the letter that gave him another. Well, no, they had fined him another $40,000 for all the time he was missing with the helmet. He posted the letter that he got from Mayock and the organization as to the reasoning for the fine. It's just, you play the clip if you want. Last year, Ryan Clark brought this up. Former teammate of Antonio Brown's. Now, I'm going to trust that guy more than most sources, given that he was in the locker room with him, defended him in practice on a regular basis, all that stuff. He said this.
I believe he'll be successful and get his stats, but that's all he cares about. And he's showing his true colors of not being a god. I really don't care. And now finally showing y'all that he's just not a good human.
That is as damning an indictment about a player as you'll ever hear. Most criticisms are under the auspices of let's talk about their play, let's talk about how loyal they are to their teammates, what kind of work ethic they have. No, this is he's a bad human.
I believe he'll be successful and get his stats, but that's all he cares about. And he's showing his true colors of not being a good teammate. And whether this is controversial or not, I really don't care. And now finally showing y'all that he's just not a good human.
I love that. I really do.
So you introduced that to me today when the Antonio Brown news dropped, and we were watching it, and I couldn't believe I had never heard that before. It tells you I do a successful job of blocking out
stuff like
the
that.
mothership noise. Yeah. But that's notable, and the best part is that clip is about 4 or 5 minutes long about Antonio Brown.
He doubles down on it.
And he says that he's not worried about Antonio Brown retribution because he knows Ryan Clark is still protecting Antonio. He has a lot more dirt that he's deciding not to bring to light. He's just going to let you know what his conclusion is rather than present you all the evidence along the way.
Well, and I will tell you this, Tom. You pulled that up after I told you he said that, and you found a clip. He said it more than once last year. It was a repeated talking point. And another time, I can't remember specifically what show he was on. It might have been Mike and Mike or something like that. It could have been a radio show or a television show. I don't know. But he was asked something else about Antonio Brown. And it was a weird thing because at that time they were talking about the criticism of Ben Roethlisberger. And he was being very careful. And I listened to it very closely because obviously he was in that locker room, knows those guys really, really well. And I thought it was fascinating because he said, look, it's no secret I'm not a big fan of Antonio Brown, the person. I've said as much. I've called him a bad human. Some of what he's saying about Roethlisberger is also true, in terms of his leadership or lack thereof. And so if you're asking me what do I think about what he said, there's some nuggets of truth to that, to what he said about Roethlisberger. Do I think it's a wise idea? No. Would I bring that up publicly? No, but that's right in character with who Antonio Brown is. And then he doubled down. He's basically said, look, he's a bad guy, so it doesn't surprise me that he's saying it. And then somebody flippantly asked him, are you worried? Because the guy likes to start fights on Twitter with everybody, Antonio Brown, and will he come after you? He goes, he knows better than to do that. He knows I got a lot more that he doesn't want to come to light, so I don't suspect that'll happen. So I'm paraphrasing, obviously, but yeah, that's basically what he said. And I cracked up. I thought, whoa. So that's more than once that he's intimated, yeah, no, don't even.
Well, and having knowledge on the college and pro level with people who have worked in organizations across the sports, really, over the years. That happens, man. Like the bad stuff that guys do in any sport is right in front of their teammates, and their teammates have to abide by the code, let it happen, but then they keep notes on it. Because if you step out of line with performance, now they're coming after you.
Yeah, well, and guys get beat up by their teammates. This is a job.
That's correct. I can tell you, maybe one day over beers if you find me out and about, maybe at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill on a Friday for a live remote.
Well, I'll tell you this.
One sport where a guy got clocked into his locker by a teammate because he decided to be a pouty little you-know-what.
There's more than one occasion. This happens. You think about a 162-game season in baseball. That's a lot of time to be around somebody. I mean, that's an awful – and it's just think about any workplace you've ever been in or a classroom or just large groups of people in general. Stands to reason, if you're around a lot of people, there are going to be a few in that group you don't like. Or you don't see the world the same way. You don't get along eye to eye. You don't, whatever. It could be your backgrounds are very, very different. I don't know what it is. We all strive to kind of bridge those gaps. But there's always that person, sometimes more than one, that you go, I can't stand being around Jerry. I can't stand being around Mary or whomever it is, right? It just drives me nuts. Well, now imagine they're a starter. They're a valued component to what you're trying to get accomplished in your season. And they're gonna matter on a nightly basis, and you're going to be on a plane with them. You're going to be in a locker room with them. You're going to be at spring training with them. You're going to be around them at all times. At some point, we're going to have a problem. Somebody's going to say something. I'm not in the mood. I'm 0 for my last 24. And it's go time.
And you spout off while I'm trying to play a poker game and get my mind off it on the team flight.
Right. And then next thing you know, something happens.
Your nose breaks.
Yeah, it gets ugly.
I don't know how.
But I'll know this, though, and organizations do a very good job most of the time of trying to keep that in-house. You get spoiled, rotten superstars who don't want to do community engagements. It's no secret I've had close friends in that industry with having to corral players to go do a community event that they agreed to. It's part of their contracts, by the way. That's something that's not known by a lot of people, that these huge contracts that these guys sign in any sport, NBA, NFL, Major League Baseball, there is a certain number of personal appearances on behalf of the organization within the community in which they play that they are required to make. Now, they can turn down some. They have wiggle room, like, hey, I've got plans that weekend, my wife's flying in, my kids, whatever it might be. But there are a certain number, and they are expected to choose 4 of these 10 opportunities, okay? Just you tell us so we know these are going to be the 4. If you refuse to do that, you're in breach of your contract, for starters. Yeah. And, yes, your money could be affected. And it can get ugly. I mean, when you go to a guy and go, we've been promoting this for 2 weeks because it's the one you sent us that you would do, you're going to be there. These things can get – that's a very, very fun story time when you're with the right people who've seen that kind of thing. Just like, really, why would you do that? Why would you say no to that?
What's that guy doing? Is he out of baseball now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Out of baseball. But, man, I can't imagine being Antonio Brown's teammate.
I'd love to hear what Gruden thought when he was told about this altercation.
I bet he witnessed it.
Jiminy.
I know it's hard.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men on a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Has Tallahassee's largest selection of new and used video games and game systems. The future of video gaming is at Games for Less, where they have both the Happy Redemption Thursday, everybody. I like saying it. Still early in the year. At Jay Cameron Show, at _Tom Lang. Don't folks like King of College Football have better things to discuss instead of FSU's perceived facilities problems and money problems? Question mark. Well, I mean, first of all, I know the segment you're talking about. He's referring to Chuck Oliver's show, which we carry from 12 to 2 here, 1 to 3. What the hell am I talking about? Preceding my show. And I'm a frequent guest on the show. I think Chuck does a good job of covering college football, certainly is knowledgeable, and, has opinions that I don't always share, but that's true with everybody. A lot of my opinions you guys don't share. I heard what he said, so I'm glad you asked about it, Jimmy. I appreciate the tweet. We got some emails on it, too. And so I'll address it. He said that the LSU job, and it's a longer segment. He's comparing and contrasting Ed Orgeron at LSU and Willie Taggart at Florida State and the two jobs and the way they're perceived and all this other stuff that goes into it. And in short, what he said was the LSU job is a much better job than the Florida State job because of fan interest, facilities, and money. Right now, I think that's an accurate statement. I think he's right about that. Now, I would argue that when things are operating at peak efficiency for both schools, I'd rather be at Florida State. It's a recruiting hotbed, just as it is in Louisiana. With the cachet and the successes that go beyond that of LSU's. And you don't have to play in the SEC West. And as long as Nick Saban's over there, I'd rather be here. Now, that's not cowardice. That's the reality. That's true of anybody. You don't want to have to go up against the 800-pound gorilla to win your own division. Now, we're kind of having to do it right now with Clemson. And they're developing into one of those. And that's why I worry about falling too far behind. But, yeah, Florida State is in the midst of a budget crunch. They did 5% cuts across the board. They did slash spending across the board. That is all true. That was to try to get into a more responsible place because they did a poor job of saying no to Jimbo Fisher, who exceeded the annual budget by $7 million or so, more than once. So they're trying to get a handle on that now. I think the other reason that Florida State's in an interesting position, this is also something that has people very concerned and why you would maybe choose to go somewhere else, another university rich with tradition and money and fervent fans and all of that right now, as it sits right now, is because while you're going through this, you're also dealing with a president that is on his way out. You're dealing with frankly, what I believe to be temporary athletic director. Nobody right now in the coaching world, and you've already dealt with some retirements. You've already had a couple people, major individuals, Bob Minix and others. Not Bob Minix. Who am I thinking of? Andy Miller. Andy Miller. Yeah. Well, Andy Miller with the Boosters. Yeah, Bob Minix. Listen to me. Andy Miller with the Boosters. That whole situation. Bernie just left. So you've had a lot, Waxman. You've had a lot of guys that have been with the program and have intimate knowledge of how things work and been in powerful positions over the last 20 to 30 years that have left. When you have an outgoing president, sooner rather than later, and an athletic director that probably won't be far behind once that happens, well, people like to know who they're going to work for, Tom. If I'm going to take a job that is under budget constraints currently, and people who are going to be my bosses maybe only temporarily, that doesn't feel like very solid footing for me to say yes to. So there are a myriad of factors why you might look at some other jobs currently as being better positioned for coaches, high-profile coaches, to say yes to than Florida State. If they're both operating at peak efficiency, Florida State's one of the best jobs in the country. When one is not and the other is, obviously you fall behind. These are all valid concerns and fair observations. It's not being unfair. It's just pointing out the obvious. I think one of the things that gets brought up a lot, only because it was Jimbo Fisher's talking point, and I completely disagree with it, is the facilities argument. There are plenty of high-profile schools that have inferior facilities to Florida State. That is just a talking point born out of anger and frustration that simply isn't true. Do many of the facilities need to be upgraded, like the baseball stadium? Yes, absolutely. In terms of what's going on with football, though, they've invested in that. They're raising the money for the football-only facility, and all that's happening right now. Obviously, the indoor practice facility got done, and it's gorgeous. Your practice facility is fine. Your locker room was upgraded. You're fine. You're good. You're in good shape. So I think the facilities argument is bogus as it pertains to football. I think that the other stuff that I just got done alluding to is fair game. And it's why all of us are watching very closely at the ACC network. We're watching each step that takes place along the way because we want to know, are we equipped to be in this fight? Are we going to have a fair shot at winning our one-on-one battles against these other teams that we're tasked with competing against, namely Clemson? Clemson will have more money, IPTAY fund and all that. You just need to be in the ballpark. You need to have yourself an opportunity. And so we watch all these things closely. And right now there are, of course, growing concerns. I will say this, in terms of money and desperation, and if you were forced into a situation that none of us want to be forced into, which is if this goes off the rails and it doesn't work out for Coach Taggart, which certainly there's still time for that to not happen. Things could turn around. He could get a couple wins here in the next couple of weeks, and all of a sudden we're talking about these things in a very different light for now. But let's just say worst-case scenario for the sake of having the discussion. Worst-case scenario. They win 2 games, something like that, right? Would they be able to make a move if they had to? It would be challenging, but the answer to that is yes. They can always find the money because they have assets. They may not have liquidity. They may not have a ton of money on them, but the boosters do have assets. They could find a way to create the money necessary to buy out the staff and bring in another one. It's the last resort. It's not what anybody wants to have to do. It's not ideal. It'd be difficult, but it could be done. So this idea that you're over a barrel and you've got no choice if things fly off the tracks, that's simply not true. But, again, we're getting out a little ahead of ourselves here. I think Florida State wins on Saturday, and then let's see what happens against Virginia, and let's see how they play. All of this will inform the discussion.
One thing he said in the midst of his segment on Florida State, LSU, and bringing Jimbo in here and there is that Jimbo told you it's not a great job.
Of course he said that. He was angry and he was leaving.
No, well, meaning Jimbo's actions told the college football-loving public that Florida State is not a great job.
Or that $75 million influences a decision. I mean, that and... Listen, when you are a super agent, as Jimmy Sexton is, and you control, like chess pieces where all these coaches go, you leverage one school against another for the purposes of getting a better deal for yourself. That's what he does. He gets a percentage of these deals. He's making a ton of money by taking that $75 million deal at Texas A&M. Listen, if your client comes to you and says, I simply cannot deal with what I believe to be an untenable situation with the boosters. I don't like Andy Miller. I don't like my athletic director. And now I've pissed off the president who absolutely adored me. I'm up against it. Get me out of here. Well, then you're going to do whatever you can to engineer that move. I'll say this. I think Jimbo got too far out over his skis. He never wanted to leave here, but he said one too many things that he couldn't take back. He had one too many fits of anger, one too many moments of irreparable damage to where he fractured a relationship with the president that absolutely loved him at one point, but finally had to call his bluff. And that's one of the many reasons we ended up in the situation we're in with him leaving. But let's not pretend like things were humming along all hunky-dory at the time that these events occurred. The team was sub 500. He was 5-6. The team had quit on him more than once. he had let the locker room culture go to hell.
Yeah, I'd say even before he pissed off the president, he had an eye towards leaving because he knew that the program was being run amok.
Well, the 2016 LSU desperation attempt to bring in Tom Herman, but also have a backup plan along the way, which was to reach out to Fisher, tells you he had an eye on leaving. He asked for $7.5 million to leave.
Yeah.
He was going to take it. If they had offered the job, he would have taken it. So he was always looking to get back to the SEC. We kind of suspected that to begin with. A&M kind of turned out to be an opportunity. Someone butchered it, and all of a sudden they were desperate. I mean, those people have more money than sense.
Right, so you've got leverage galore if you're Jimmy Sexton.
That's correct. That's what happened there.
Chuck posits that FSU is not a great job right now if it comes open. You think that's true? You think that's fair?
Okay, so we do this. We always go back to, and I had a woman call me out on this the other day, and I think she may be a new listener, so I didn't really bother getting into it with her. I use the phrase often. I use the phrase, so-and-so's not any good.
Yeah.
I think I said about us, we're not any good.
Yeah.
Because we're 12-14 in our last 26 games, which would be not any good.
Right. Or we suck on Seminole headlines. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, record says we suck.
That's correct. Yeah. Now, you could argue, depending on the program you are, that 12-14 doesn't suck. I mean, if you're, I suppose, I don't know who you want to name.
Arkansas.
Here. Arkansas would love to be 12-14 over their last 26 right now. So to that person and to those that hear me say that, it's relative to the standard. It's relative to what you hold your university, in this case the football program, accountable for. That's true, too, within the professional ranks as individuals. So if a pitcher in the major leagues is 3-12 with an ERA of 6.47 and a batting average against of 320 and every alarming statistic, hard hit measure you want to look at, if he's unable to get outs on a regular basis and miss bats on a regular basis, you might hear me say, so-and-so starting tonight, he sucks. Does he suck relative to the baseball playing world? No, he's elite. He made the major leagues. That doesn't happen but for less than 1% of the people who've ever picked up a baseball, right? So by that standard, you certainly could call me out and say he doesn't suck. But by the standards of his profession in Major League Baseball, he sucks. So I just want to clarify that as we talk about this. Relative to the landscape of college football, this is an awesome job and will always be an awesome job. If we narrow it down to those that compete for championships, national championships, playoff spots on an annual basis, is this a great job right now? Well, the fact that I could probably name 5, maybe more, schools that I would choose over us right now, the answer is no.
5 is easy.
5 is easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it might be 10, Tom. And, that hurts to say. So, you got to keep context in mind. It matters. I'm assuming, just like, and most of you within the sound of my voice certainly understand that, but I always assume my audience understands the context with which we're talking. Obviously, this is a better job as a football coach than if you went to Pitt.
Or Arkansas.
Or Tennessee, or any number of other.
Ole Miss.
You go on down. There's a lot of places.
Arkansas, Ole Miss.
Listen.
It's a big SEC tilt this weekend.
Listen, most places, this is a better job than. This job is better than most places.
But it can be a top 2 or 3 job
it
consensus.
Can be a top 5 job annually when things are right.
It ain't close right now.
So I'm glad we got that out there. I wanted to clarify that. We got emails about it, tweets about it. Final hour, forthcoming. Stay with.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Final hour of the Jeff Cameron Show, at least for today. Thanks for tuning to it. Glorious Redemption Thursday. Well, inside, it's a good Redemption Thursday. Outside, it's a miserable heat fest. But inside, it's a glorious Redemption Thursday. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you get to listen live via the streaming free. Always don't miss anything. Sometimes you do. It happens. We all get busy. All 3 hours are posted for that very reason upon the conclusion of the show to iTunes, where you go and you go, I'm going to give this 5 stars. Tom Lang wants me to give this 5 stars, so I'm going to do it. And then I'm going to share it with everybody else so they can find this great podcast.
That's right.
And then you email the show if you like. That's actually perfect. Just keep it there. Even if you're going to say something else, that's perfect. JCS at 979ESPNradio.com is the email address. On Twitter, it's at Jay Cameron Show. WTSM app. You can see the different configuration here with the YouTube feed. Probably get more of me. That's, you feel good about that, everybody?
It's like John Legend, all of you.
Yeah, so you get more
Won't even
of me
try
here.
and sing that.
Yeah. What are you doing here, computer? No, we're not doing that.
The
Let's get
ghost
together.
of Wheezy has infiltrated on a Redemption Thursday.
Wheezy's like, you don't need to see your picks. You should have them memorized, all of them. I have most of them memorized, but the wager's here. The champ is here. I had another winning week. First week, week 0, we went 3-0 in our wagers. This last week, we went 5-3-1, only 9 games, 5-3-1. The push came on the total between Kentucky and Toledo. How about that? Hit the total on the number. How good is Vegas?
Well, sometimes they get it right, and by sometimes I mean most of the time.
I mean the exact number.
Yeah.
You put a total up of 62 and nail it. That is bizarre. It's not 45. It's not 62, and they nailed the total. So it's a push. Actually, you guys would be giving me money on that, but I'll give you the push.
A lot of houses in Vegas, they give you your ticket back, right? For a push?
Yeah, some of them do. Yeah, some of them do. All right, so here's what I did 11 because we only had 9 last week, so I thought I'd step up my game and give you 11 this week.
All right, well, it's got the NFL, too, to fortify the ranks.
I don't like this first week in the NFL. I don't like messing with anything early in the NFL. It's all crazy. I think the safe bet's out there if you're wondering about NFL games. Always bet against the Dolphins, who may win one game this year. They've already decided to tank. They've admitted it by trading away all their good players. So they're done. And then I would say that maybe shade Cleveland a little bit, man. I am about done with this. Can we let them make the playoffs at some point before we go on and on about the Cleveland Browns? God, dog. Now, I did take them this week, but don't. People are talking about Cleveland like they're the 3-time Super Bowl winners or something, like Baker Mayfield's made a playoff.
That is a truly, this is the word I've used for months, combustible situation. If it goes bad, it's going to be a spectacular fire in the sky.
I don't think it's going to go bad because they can really defend now, and I think they have weapons galore on offense. They're going to win games, but there's a lot more in the National Football League than just lining up a talented roster. We see this all the time. Experience goes an awful long way. Obviously, see the New England Patriots, good Lord. They've taken some teams that have no business, and then winning the Super Bowl. That's where Tom Brady and Bill Belichick really matter.
The one thing about Baker that is unquestionable, it dates back to college, of course. It's mostly in college, but it happened a couple times last year. When he gets on a roll,
oh, he's real good.
It's so fun to watch.
He's a good player,
That's
man.
really
He's
fun
a good
to
player. I felt like we did a good job making him look bad in the preseason, but it was a preseason game. We'll see. When he gets going, he's a real one of the things, the intangibles they always talk about when you're analyzing players at the scouting combine and all that, and you're trying to get a feel for a guy. Let's say you assess a guy and you say, his arm strength's not in question. He's got a real good arm. Nobody's questioning Baker Mayfield's arm strength. He's got a good arm. And he was accurate in college, and it wasn't just the system. You could see him make those throws. So they liked all that. They didn't love his height. Okay, so that's a detraction. So you're weighing the scale here, and you're like, man, he's got a lot of what's he have? Well, he has always had a whole hell of a lot of moxie, an annoying amount of moxie. But admittedly, if that's part of what makes you tick and you can use it to your advantage, and you do, and you show a proclivity to do that, well, then you can put that in the positive column, because we saw it last year, even as a rookie. When he gets rolling and believes, he's cocky, but he makes plays.
It's like the cockier he is when things are going right, the better he sees the field, though.
Oh, yeah.
That's the crazy part.
Oh, he gets on a roll.
And the faster he sees the field.
It's rhythmic. It's unbelievable. You watch it happen. Also, I think, And this stands to reason. You're talking about it's all alpha males in the NFL. All these guys, there's a measure of bravado and everything else that goes into this. I think his teammates love it. They feed off of it. And that's why you always hear these glowing reviews about being his teammate. Well, if he's your guy and he's won you some games with that bravado and you've watched it happen where he gets on a roll, you love it.
Well, and it's who he is. So when he gets mad at you at practice, he's not stepping out of his own shell.
He's being his,
or he's not Peyton Manning talking about Allstate, every day, and then he yells at you. And he looks at you like you kicked his dog or something.
Right.
That's just who he is, for good or bad.
By the way, as for the Bucks, you'll hear the game right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio this Sunday. And Jameis has an attractive matchup in the secondary, but not on the defensive line. So it's an interesting deal. Last year, the Niners allowed the most passing touchdowns in the league, and they also allowed the most, if you're into this sort of thing, fantasy points to quarterbacks at home.
Well, but here's the problem. If you look at the preseason and the way the Bucs protected against the Browns, and I'm not saying that the preseason always translates 1-to-1 ratio to the pro game. And,
trying to block that group is going to be tough.
The regular season, I should say. They've already got a good front four, and Bruce Arians said earlier this week he's not into leaving extra blockers and chipping, so something's got to give here, because if they can get home to the quarterback and Bruce wants to release 4 or 5 out into a routes every single play, Jameis better get rid of the damn ball, or we better be able to run the ball and set up play action.
Well, I think that's the big one there. They're going to try to run the ball and set up play action. I actually think this does have the recipe for an under here. I know the 49ers secondary was really victimized last year, but to your point with this group, Armstead, Buckner, Ford, Bosa, block those guys?
Well, okay, so after the Cleveland game, before hearing Bruce's theory on not doing Max Pro, and the reason he doesn't like it is because let's say if you got a good 4-man rush, then it is 3-on-7. But after the Cleveland game, I thought the theory being they didn't want to adjust because they wanted to hang the offensive line out to dry to know what they had or didn't have. Should have gotten Jameis out to run that experiment. But then you hear Bruce talk about it this week. You're like, oh, that wasn't a fluke. That's actually what we kind of want to do.
He didn't like it, yeah. But he'll also, now I would say this, the way he called that game, I don't think you call that in a regular season game. You're going to adjust to where the areas of weakness have been exposed. You're going to say, well, I can't just keep running into a brick wall here. My right guard can't block this. So I need to give him some help. I need to, at least put one extra guy back in here or something.
Well, I think what they'll do instead of what they did against Cleveland, they had a lot of long developing plays against Cleveland. He missed some checkdowns, but they'll have quicker throws. That'd be my guess of how they get into a rhythm.
Get the ball the hell out of your hands. All right, the Redemption Thursday picks. And by the way, I am so eager to get to the game on Saturday. I like us big on Saturday, by the way. I took the Knowles in the picks today. I think we're going to blow them out. I don't think ULM is going to have a whole hell of a lot of chances to get stops on defense. I think they're going to get exposed. They suspended their defensive end. Another one got hurt. They got problems. So I believe the matchup, obviously, bigger, stronger, faster is always the case when you look at these kinds of matchups. But I think this really sets up for us to hum on offense. So even if the defense just shows a modicum of improvement, which I got to imagine they will, then you're probably talking about Florida State scoring in the 50s, high 40s. They cover the 21 at that.
Yeah, at that point, as long as you don't give up 30, you're easy breezy into Coverland, USA.
Yeah, I feel pretty good about it. So that's one of my picks, by the way, right out the gates. I'll take Florida State minus 22 against Louisiana Monroe. Okay, some weird games. It was hard for me to get to the 11 here. College, I don't love the week. Tom and I were talking earlier. I don't love the card this week if you're serious about this and you actually lay potato chips beyond what we do for charity here on the show. Just a word of advice. I don't think it's a great week. I think there are a lot of unknowns out there. That's often the case early in the season. You can take advantage of that, but you can also be taken advantage of if you get a little too emboldened by early season success when you have a week like this. I took Washington, gave the 13.5 to Cal. I took Penn State at home covering against SUNY Buffalo. SUNY Buffalo, yeah. I'm going to give the 29.5. I think they'll win by 60. I took Stanford USC and the under 45 points. Would have liked to have grabbed it when it first came out at 49. But obviously USC is down to a backup quarterback. I think these two teams played to a 17-3 game a year ago. They get pretty conservative at Stanford when they have the opportunity to, when they don't think the other team's a threat. They'll run the ball, play real physical. I don't know if that's a game-time decision or not on Stanford starting quarterback, so we may be dealing with backups here. I'll take the better coach team in a lower-scoring game, so I took the under there. I also took Stanford getting a point on the road.
Ooh, double down.
Yeah, doubled up on that. Yeah, I like it. Well, I also wanted to get to 11 this week. Texas A&M, I took the 17.5 against Clemson. You can find it 18.5 in some places. Listen, I didn't want to ignore the big game of the weekend, frankly, so I decided I was going to kind of leave the LSU-Texas game alone at that number, so I thought I'd come back to this one. And I think, Jimbo has a history in these matchups. I think, of if he doesn't think he can win it. Now, he'll go into it thinking he can win it. But I think if he realizes he can't, he tries to keep that number down. He tries to keep he wants that clock to go. He'll slow play it, and we'll try to get out of Dodge with our respect. He believes in that. Save for when we played Louisville that year. I think he tries to.
Yeah, he manages the game where it needs to be managed, and he's familiar with the opponent. He's familiar with the setting.
He's always played well against him.
And he's got a good defensive coordinator. Yeah, I could see it. There's a reason it's that big. There's a reason, and that might be because A&M is just considered to be a little stronger by the public than they really are. And so
I don't think they're a great team, but I just can't believe you're going to give me, over 3 scores. I mean, really, A&M, they got a 5-star quarterback who can play. They'll score enough points to make this interesting, I think. I mean, they'll lose by a couple touchdowns, but
they may. I don't know. The other thing is that Clemson is prepared for this matchup all offseason. They didn't have to prepare for Georgia Tech. So they get a good – I mean, if you just give Dabo a little extra time.
Tom, take the other side.
The point total is so absurd that I feel like something's in the water. That's my point here.
It feels that way.
But when Dabo gets a lot of time to prepare for you, at least when it goes from regular season to playoff season, that's usually your ass. Like, they hang huge numbers on really good teams.
They do. Well, they're really good. And they're really good again this year, and they'll win the game. But I'll take that hook, man, at 17.5. I'll do it. Nebraska -4 at Colorado. Screw Colorado. They're not any good. I'll take Nebraska and give the 4. Kind of a revenge game there. Ohio State, I'll give the 16 to Cincinnati, who everybody loves as a top-tier Group of 5 team. And even though I got the win and the cover and all that against UCLA last week with Cincinnati, I hated the way they played that game. I watched that game closely and got a little uncomfortable in the second half with the way they were playing. UCLA just turned the ball over. Cincinnati did too. It was not a fun game to watch. Both teams looked particularly bad, frankly. So I think Ohio State blows them out.
Well, and you have a young quarterback who's trying to prove something too. If this was a team that had been to the playoff last year or they won a championship and they're coasting, maybe they'd take a Cincinnati lightly.
Yeah.
But I think given the situation that you've got somebody who's trying to make his mark in Justin Fields, he should press a little bit harder for that extra 7 to 10 points, which is all you need.
Yeah, I'll give the 16 there. Syracuse-Maryland's a weird game. It is very hard to get a feel for this game. Maryland's favored, which immediately strikes me as odd.
Yeah.
Syracuse did not look good last week at all, but
looking ahead.
It could have been. There was an alarming number of drops in that game. I don't know. I mean, is that going to be systemic? Is that going to be a thing with them? They can't catch. But, I feel like they have a talented quarterback, certainly from an arm talent standpoint. Weird game. I took Syracuse getting the 2 there. I just like them to win the game, so the number didn't really matter to me.
I think that's an early kick, too, isn't it?
I didn't look. I have no idea. Should be interesting, though. I think it's really one of the more fascinating games of the weekend. It's just kind of a
This is a weird and interesting weekend. It doesn't have all of the sex appeal of Park Your Ass Saturday.
No, not at all.
But it's got a lot of cool, interesting, weird matchups. And that is a noon kick. It's on ESPN, Syracuse and Maryland.
I'll be watching. By the way, Detroit -2.5 against the Arizona Cardinals in the NFL. Got a couple NFL picks for you here. Give me Detroit on the road. I think it's the first time in my life, seriously, that I've ever taken Detroit on the road and given points. I don't think in the history of gambling have I ever taken the Detroit Lions on the road and gave points to the home team.
That sounds right. There aren't a lot of opportunities in history to do so.
I think there is right here. I'll go ahead and give the 2.5. I think we're going to embark on a hell of a campaign out in Arizona.
You think Matt Patricia is he's biting on that pencil a little bit harder because he can't wait?
I mean, So Arizona's offensive line last year was terrible. They didn't do much to help it, and now you're going to run that system with a diminutive quarterback.
Yeah.
I just have a hard time seeing this working. I don't see it working.
So Matt Patricia is going to celebrate by in the post-game press conference saying that his beat reporters look like slobs.
Forgot about what a jerk he was that day. And then I took Cleveland, even though I'm going to prattle on about I'm tired of the public going nuts. You know, it's the most wagered on team in the NFL. Like everybody has gone Cleveland crazy to win the Super Bowl.
To win the Super Bowl?
To win the Super Bowl. They have the most amount of wagers on them.
Well, there are a lot of Cleveland fans in pockets around the country. They've just been in hiding for decades.
Oh, they're vocal. I mean, they've been like the Cubs fans, just lovable losers. They've just been losers, and they know it, and they hate it, but they've embraced it to some degree.
But what I'm saying is it'll be interesting to see, let's just say they start out 2-1, 3-1, something like that, at your local watering hole, at a corner pocket or Bubba's or wherever you go. Now, how many Cleveland jerseys appear on a Sunday for the ticket? I'll bet you they're out there.
I'm trying to figure out who do I think the 3 worst teams in the National Football League are this year. I'll start with the Dolphins. I'll follow it up quickly with Arizona. And then I think there's a real good chance that the Giants are on that list of terrible, terrible teams. When you look at the Giants, outside of Saquon Barkley, what do they have?
Golden Tate in week 6 or 7, whenever he gets done with his suspension. That's about it. They got Ingram, the tight end. He could play.
But is he? I think he's out this week. I got to double.
He might be out this week, but that dude is he's a matchup nightmare.
Yeah. Just not a lot for people to prepare for.
Right, yes. Yeah. I'm not arguing they're going to be a 9-win team. Don't get me wrong.
Not a lot for people to prepare for. And then from there, I think the Raiders are terrible. There's an outside chance the Bucs are terrible again this year because if they can't block.
Defense will help us one way. Defense will tell the story. How about that?
It'd be nice. No, but I think I just identified the worst teams. I think it's Miami. I think it's Arizona. I think it's the Giants. And then I think the Raiders are pretty high on the list of terrible teams. Again, Buffalo might be terrible again this year.
They could be.
Buffalo could be.
Can they count on their quarterback to run for another 600-700 yards?
He's got to run for 200 yards a game. Washington's awful. Okay, so we're getting there. Yeah.
Boy, that division's the NFC East. I get it. The Philly's been pretty good in
Dallas,
recent years.
Dallas is fun.
Jesus.
I know. Philly Dallas will be good this year.
I just feel like they're always on a trajectory for a 10-6 division winner, and they get hot at the right time or some crap like that.
I've got a lot of.
But please put them on Sunday Night Football every other week.
You know who has performed under the win total for 4 consecutive years and I think needs to have a good one? That would be the Green Bay Packers, who are on tonight. And they're a very public team, always are. Listen, Aaron Rodgers is talented, but he did not have a good year last year. That was in the midst of controversy and all of that, and he got hurt. But he wasn't great the year before. Come on now. Let's see what happens. LaFleur there now. What do we got?
Well, you've got no excuse left for Rodgers.
Well, I think if they would run the ball, it would help. The Jones guy can play, and they had success. I was looking at rushing totals this morning at the average yards per carry last year. You know that they called a pass play on over 70% of the snaps last year, and yet they had a top 5.
Yeah, caught him by surprise. I mean, whoa, shoot!
If it's 5.5 yards per carry. Run the ball, man. I mean, Aaron's great, but you can't throw it on every down. The league, it's too difficult. I don't care how good you are. You got to have a little bit of balance, man. It's bizarre.
I'll go with the draw on 3rd and 17. That's how they got that yardage total up.
I actually think he can play, but, those are the wagers. As always, a reminder that these are not for money. I'd get in trouble for that. Potato chips, however you want to wager them, you can make it boxes of cereal, cans of tuna, non-perishable food items to your local charity. Keep a running total. I had a winning week last week. You know what you wagered against me. Maybe somewhere around game 4, game 5. Add it all up. If you're into me for some boxes of non-perishable food items, drop them off at your local charity with your choice. And if I'm losing to you, I'll do the same. And we'll help out where we can. That's what we do on a Redemption Thursday. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Thinking of a master plan.
I had to let him speak. That voice is gold. I think I listened to this on a tape until I broke the tape. I remember the day it happened in my Volkswagen Bug. I was like, damn it! No!
Was it stuck in the tape player, or
it just got worn out? It snapped.
Okay, that's better than it. Unwinding.
Oh, that's the worst. You go back in there, hey, I failed to do something yesterday. We gave something away, but we needed to give two away this week, and this is on me. My friends at Which, which are now sponsoring the show and on working with us here at ESPN Radio. We gave away the Wicked Wednesday sandwich there, which is it's 5 meats, 3 cheeses. It's unbelievable. Look at all this stuff you get: turkey, ham, roast beef, pepperoni, bacon. Forget about it. 3 cheeses, the whole deal. So if you're starving, you're golden. We're giving one away. I'm going to do it again here in a second, but I just want to say for those that didn't know, this is a nice partnership, Tom. My kids, I'm not going to lie, love Which. They love it. My youngest son especially loves Which. And I have to admit, if you've never been, it's fun because you go in and there's these baggies and you can kind of just build your own sandwich, if you will. And you go through it and you say you want, let's say you were going to get a Philly cheesesteak or something like that. Then you grab the bag and you check that off, and then all the stuff you would want on it, the fixings, they got different categories. And you get your little pin, and you do all that, and then you write your name on top of the bag, and you hand it in, and then they sling it down with their little slide thing, and then you get it back in that bag. There you go. It's golden, and you really can't screw it up. It's perfect. So you're always building your own perfect sandwich. How about that?
You can't beat a good sandwich. I will say that.
It's tough to, and Which Witch has got good sandwiches. Anyhow, call now, 523-3776. We'll give you one. It's for the wicked sandwich, if you will. It's 5 meats, 3 cheeses.
Just $5 on Wednesdays.
That's cheap.
Caller 2.
Very cheap. Caller 2. I think we've been going caller 2 for a long time now. 523-3776. We don't do a lot of call 3s.
It's like an East Coast bias, an even number bias.
We just like that, yeah. I also have shakes there at Which Witch, which I'm asked to buy every time I'm there. Kids can't avoid a shake, and I can't avoid saying no. I'm such a wimp.
I could go check on engineer Mark and see if he'll add some phone lines for us for the football season, as he already should have done. I think he's in the same area that Benny the Beaver sleeps, so I got to go check.
We may actually need it, Tom. I mean, the year is shaping up rather interestingly.
Yeah.
It's going to be – I want so desperately for things to turn around because it's much more fascinating. Look, people will say this to me a lot. Hey, doesn't controversy help your ratings? Well, look, man, we're either number 1 or number 2 in the ratings books every time. My show's hugely popular, has been for a long time, whether we're really good or really bad or anything in between. So I don't worry about that anymore. We've established that. But you know what does happen either way, frankly, which is weird, is if you're super dominant and there's no intrigue in 10 of the 12 weeks, or if you're god-awful and you're a train wreck and there's no intrigue in 10 of the 12 weeks, you're in trouble either way. Apathy sets in, and, man, when apathy sets in, coaches are done. Situations are dire. And I don't think we're at apathy. Far from it. We are at anger. We are quite clearly the center of anger right now. That's where folks are at.
For me, I think we're plenty interesting. I think right now, listen,
I don't disagree with that.
After Virginia, it could be bad. But for right now, these next couple of weeks, we are really interesting. So there's plenty to look for this weekend, even though it's a walkover game in theory. The number's only 21 and change, as you said in the last segment, depending upon where you can get it. That's a little bit embarrassing that it's that low. Usually when you face a ULM, the number should be in the 30s or the 40s, right, if you're operating the way we should be.
Yep, but we're not.
But we're interesting. Does the defense clean up some things this week? Does the offense play a more consistent 60 minutes? Kendall Briles still has the new car smell, So I think there's plenty to still be intrigued about. And you want to see how these players respond. Are they different? Are their spines capable of handling this type of adversity this time around?
You're bringing up the point that I'm most interested in. I always like to see how a team responds. Everybody likes to see how a team responds to adversity, but the level of adversity we're dealing with here with the soap opera that is this time right now at FSU sports and in football in particular interests me because I do think they improved the locker room immensely with the younger class that he first brought in that are now a major part of what they're trying to get done. And then this new group of kids that came in, the freshmen that were hugely influential as well. I think those guys are all believers, and they're going to do something a little bit different than we saw from the upperclassmen certainly a year ago. In truth, I'm not real certain that I trust too many of these upperclassmen. There are a few out there. To stay locked in and to help guide us out of these situations. I think if he had his druthers, and we certainly heard this before the year, I think back to Deion Sanders saying this. But I think if he had his druthers, he'd probably run off some more people. But with the score being what it was at the APR, with that being so low, you couldn't get rid of people. You need them to finish school. You need them to graduate. And we had the lowest in the FBS. You can't afford to have guys leave. And so I think you had to cater to some of that. But you know what? None of those guys are going to leave midseason. So I would say, depending on what happens in a couple of weeks, you may just see an all-in youth movement.
I think a lot of people are starving for that, but I don't know if it's that simple. A game like this offers opportunities for younger players to assert themselves on film and earn reps, like almost allowing you to do what you want to do anyway. If you can take care of some business early on and get a little bit of a lead, not one that you give up in the second half, but one that you're able to hold on to, you might be able to work in some younger players either in the receiving corps, but certainly at linebacker, defensive back. Maybe you can get a couple of younger players in the line, too, just to get a look and see what your depth is going to be for the season behind Durden and Marvin Wilson and Big Coop. That's the hope for this week. But the one thing I want to point out real quick is you remember when we got Greg Reed to say yes, when we got LaMarcus Joyner to say yes, and Telvin, their career, even though it finished for the last two guys, Greg obviously got dismissed, but their careers finished at the top. But they didn't see this program at peak until they were basically walking out the door. They stayed the course. Remember 2011 was a bad season. We were coming off a 10-win campaign where we beat South Carolina in the Peach Bowl. We follow up. I think we won 9 games that year, and that's by beating Notre Dame in the bowl in Orlando. That was a really disappointing year. Yeah. Hugely disappointing year against expectations. You had Oklahoma coming to town. We lose to Wake Forest off a bye. Those kids all stayed the course. Telvin Smith did. Timmy Jernigan did. LaMarcus Joyner. You got to have it in you to see the thing through. And from all accounts, at least early on in these kids' careers, they're the types that, all right, they know adversity is coming immediately, but they're not going to pack it in like their predecessors have.
It's huge, Tom, and you got to let those guys lead, get out in front and really, really lead. Those guys that are unwavering in their efforts to get it turned around and their belief in their other young players that are alongside them or anybody else that wants to go along for that ride. I need those guys to take the helm here and make it their program. And I think that the more opportunities those guys get, the better this program will be. There's no doubt that you really can't look, I can just say it right now, Levante Taylor. Now, I had a great interview with Levante Taylor before the year started. I've never had a bad interaction with him. I don't know if he's a great kid, a terrible kid, or something in between. I have no idea. But here's what I do know. He didn't take care of business, and now he's not on the depth chart for the weekend, and he's a senior. Look, this is emblematic, I think, of some of the situations they're still dealing with over there, and why I want the younger kids to take the lead here.
Well, let me just reiterate one other thing too. Is that group of Telvin and LaMarcus that we put on high, and they are legends in program history. Even in they didn't have 2013 in them until the failures of 2012.
Right.
The NC State loss.
Yeah.
5 turnovers against Florida. It took all of that to make them who they were. It wasn't like that they were a 4-year class that won more games than any group in history, but they were the perfect group to come in and help flip the culture. So I think we all remember the moment in Pasadena as like it's almost representative of their entire career. But there was like a bleep ton of adversity for Telvin, LaMarcus, Timmy Jernigan. Yeah. They had to go through a lot of frustration, like mountains of it.
I remember coming on the air after that NC State game. That was unforgivable. I mean, Jimbo had quite a few of those. The difference, though, and this is where Willie's got to get it. He's got to get to this place. The difference was in the midst of all of those moments where you slapped your head, you did the facepalm with Virginia, Wake Forest, NC State, North Carolina. I'm naming all of them because there were lots of these where you were like, are you serious with this? I thought we were past this.
Right.
Really?
Right.
We're serious with this? All right. But the difference was it was like the stock market. It was always doing this. It was always going up. I mean, you could see depth of talent, overall level of talent. You'd have these coaching moments.
Competence of scheme.
Right, all that. It was always doing this. We haven't had that yet. There hasn't been this like, oh, okay, all right, we're good. Even with that good first half, we followed it up with 0 in the second half of game 1. So let me see some of that.
I know, but my ears perk up at the first half just to see that it's possible.
Oh, sure.
And I go, ooh.
I like a whole half.
Okay.
I mean, a whole game. Can I get a whole game?
Right.
Is it too much to ask to get a whole game?
But when you're starving, you have to eat a little bit so you can eat a lot.
Here's a little crumb.
You can't eat a lot right away.
Can't eat it all at one time, Tom.
That's
can't
right.
do it. You get yourself sick.
To nurse yourself back to health, you got to eat just a little bit.
Nicely done. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this.
It's right here, guys.
We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Wrapping it up, Redemption Thursday. There is more than a few interesting stories out there today centered around or on the periphery involving Florida State football. And I suspect, as we move forward here, Tom, that as people try to figure out how we've arrived at this place, and others began to outright call for the dismissal of Willie Taggart. This just grows louder unless Florida State is able to win against Virginia on the road. I mean, that's people. I got a million emails. Why is everybody talking about this now after one game, a close loss to Boise State? I'm like, it's been building for a while. Well, they looked so disorganized last year. How you lose matters. And that's the lesson of last year. Losing games, you can lose games. Got to look like you're improving along the way. Things are being fixed. Got some personnel groupings that are issues. People will go, okay, well, he's got to get his people in there. But when you lose because at either side of the ball, you don't have a clue what you're doing, and unfortunately last week we didn't have a clue what we were doing on defense, it just raises suspicions that things aren't very well run or well organized, and ultimately that ends up at the feet of the head coach. I didn't engage with it as much today as that is out there, certainly. Other shows, articles on ESPN.com and others. But at some point, I should just warn the fan base that's where this is headed. I think Willie knows that. You saw a sense of it this week with his odd reactions to the story that was written, Adam Rittenberg. I mean, it's just I think you're seeing the pressures of the moment catching up to a guy, and I think you're seeing the walls closing in a little bit. Doesn't mean it has to be the death knell. Doesn't have to mean that it's a spiral you can't pull out of. But I think it's a very simple approach here. Hyperbole isn't necessary at this point. He's got to win some football games. And if he doesn't, he's going to lose the younger guys, which would really be a problem.
Yeah, I'll stay away from the dead horse other than to say, I mean, every quote that's in the Rittenberg piece or the National, those are accurate quotes. Those are word for word what was said. If you listen to the tone or you look for the meaning, perhaps you can find a different conclusion. But the words are Willie's. The words were Bavion Johnson's the other day. Context does matter, but I do think that if we're trying to, create a sense that there was no negative vibe to Monday's comment, that's just, I don't think that's true. I think that's false. There was a negative, vibe to the answer to the question. But there's no doubt that it has impacted the coaches' offices. Willie wouldn't schedule a statement before practice yesterday, a day that he's not supposed to speak to the media, unless it concerned him enough that he felt like he needed to go talk about it. But you're right. I mean, this is where baseball's better, man. The Mets got destroyed the other night. They're up 10-4 in the ninth. They give up 7. They get to play at 1 o'clock the next afternoon. They win
the game.
And so that news cycle is over. It doesn't take the sting out of the loss at all, but at least you got something else to talk about. And the thing that we're all looking forward to, I'm sure they're looking forward to over in the locker room, the coaches' offices, you name it. We've got another game to play in just a couple of days. It can't get here soon enough so we can focus on something else, followed by a big week, which is Virginia week. And that's unbelievable to think about and to say out loud, that Virginia week is a massive one for Florida State football, but it is.
Yeah, if you read the Ross Dellinger piece in Sports Illustrated, Tom, that's another thing that's added to the story. He's talking about LSU. The story's about LSU and this wild thing that happened in 2016 when they were pursuing Tom Herman and then Jimbo Fisher. And it's just not a good look. LSU perceived Jimbo as having Florida State in a downward spiral already at that point. They said
they were correct.
Yeah, but the point was there was just this idea that this program was flying into the side of a mountain. And that scares the hell out of people because it ended up happening, and then there are budget crunches, and you're 5-8 in your 13 games. So there is a sense of a loss of control and an inability to change the narrative and reroute this thing. And I understand those. I mean, for the people that are asking about that and the people that email about that, your concerns are valid. Now, we've got some football games to play, and I'm going to hold off on going scorched earth here. But, they're going to win this Saturday. And then the Virginia game is going to be huge. It's going to be huge. Now, I'm not saying if you lose the Virginia game, your season's over, but I am saying if you go up there and you're listless and you don't play well and you get exposed again like you did in the second half, really throughout the game on defense.
If it's a redux of NC State on the road last year, for example.
Right. Yeah, if you end up something like that and you lose big and you're just not able to get stops at all and you've got clearly personnel that doesn't know what they're supposed to do, at that point, excuse me, I'm getting choked up. At that point, you're just...
Things bubble to the surface unexpectedly at that point.
No, it just gets to be kind of an untenable situation. I'm going to try as we go through this. to really be as objective as possible in fairness to all involved. I am paid for my opinion, and I will certainly give it. I think most people can tell where I'm at with Harlan Barnett at this point. I haven't sugarcoated any of that. The man
if they
failed.
can't tell, they didn't listen on Monday, for example.
He's failed across the board. He's
or
done
Tuesday.
nothing of consequence right now.
Now.
He's done nothing to help this team defensively. So, I think that's pretty. I'm okay if things change there. I'll put it that way. Let's see how good they are this Saturday.
Yeah, for me, this week has just been my opinion hasn't shifted from what I thought after the game was over initially. Upon rewatching,
There
really
are some
weren't
things you like.
Yeah, there's plenty to like compared to last year early on in the season.
Yeah.
I think if you look year over year, as they do in P&Ls and business reports, you see, whoa, okay, more income. Why do we have more expenses all of a sudden? Our net dollars aren't looking that great, but the income is up. I like that about us and where we are. But you've got some basic things you got to tighten up on defense. And this news cycle was, the hydration thing was just not necessary. It was completely unnecessary. And not only did it take one cycle, it took two for no freaking reason.
Well, the reason was they reintroduced it.
But that's what
so it's just missed.
You made it more of an issue to me as a fan saying, good God, can you stay out of your own way?
Doesn't appear so right now.
No. But when it comes to the football program and the product on the field we saw on Saturday, I haven't changed one bit. My opinion hasn't changed one bit about that. There's enough to like and work with moving forward as long as they don't cannibalize themselves through doubting the coaching staff and shutting down on them.
We agree on that. Yeah, it's there are things to like. Let's see if they can build on those things and not the negatives. Put those to bed and move forward. I have my doubts. I have said that. I'm beginning to wonder if you're running out of games, as they say. You're running out of games to get it turned around. All right, here's the probables. Let's get it fired up.
It's time for, how you say, with the pitching, probables?
And to be certain, and I want to clarify this, when I say running out of games, they're not firing Willie Taggart in season. Doesn't do you any good to do it, nor should they do it. I'm talking about the ability to influence the narrative and shift momentum by winning some meaningful games in the very near future. Otherwise, it's a zombie-esque approach to football Saturdays. You're just going through the motions.
Right. You're talking about if you're trying to get to 8 or 9.
Trying to get to 8 or 9 wins.
9 is now a little more pie in the sky than it was this time last
impossible,
week.
Right. But 7 or 8 is doable. And I'm trying to get to 7 or 8 because I'm trying to salvage this regime and get to where you can get the whole thing shifted and ride a positive wave in the offseason.
Right. And a prime chance has already passed you by.
Yeah.
Strike one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And every time you have another game circled where you could help turn the corner and you don't get it done, that's when I use the phrase running out of games. That's all I'm saying. All right, here we go. Rangers, Orioles. Colby out. A lot of day games today, folks. Colby Allard tonight in the who's watching the Rangers Orioles? Who cares? Orioles every day now. They trot out TBD. I love it. They're like, we don't know.
Jim Palmer.
We don't. Jim's coming down from the booth. Marlins, Pirates. Elcier Hernandez, Dario Agrazo goes for the Buccos. Pirates win again last night. Won 6 of our last 7. Playing really hard. I don't know. Cubs, Brewers, Jose Quintana, Chase Anderson going for the Brewers.
Go Crew. I know. They're in the wild card chase too, but you need the Crew to cool off the Cubbies.
I can't stand the Brewers. Twins, Red Sox, Martin Perez, Nathan Eovaldi, Blue Jays, Rays, Trent Thornton, Austin Pruitt. We've got the Nats and the Braves tonight. Think about this. If you're if you're a Nationals fan, how frustrated are you? The Nationals are 17-5 in their last 22 games, and they lost ground because the Braves were like, screw you.
Everybody's gotten ridiculously hot in that race.
It's unbelievable.
I was talking to Matthew because his Phillies were in the race
like
my Mets
the Reds
were.
Last night, yeah.
But about 3 weeks ago, it's like, 85, 86 wins will probably get you in that 5th spot. Now you need at least 90, it would appear.
It's crazy. Yeah, if I'm the Nationals and I go 17-5, how good am I feeling? And I lost a game in the race because the Braves are 17-4. It's like, what are we doing? Mariners, Astros, Marco Gonzalez, Wade Miley, the matchup there. Read it this morning. I was going over my baseball stats. The Astros, if I'm not mistaken, are 50-12 at home. 51-13. It's absurd. If you're just taking home, maybe it's 50-17. Double check the Astros home record, but Them and the Cubs and the Dodgers at home, if you just take them to win at home every time.
Yeah, whatever the money line would be, 51-17.
That is absurd.
The Dodgers are 55-18.
Yeah.
I don't see anybody else close.
Cubs should be right there. The Cubs.
Yankees 53-22.
Look up at the Cubs.
The Cubs are 47-24.
Yeah, they're good at home. That's they don't win on the road, but they're good at home. But those are ridiculous numbers. Just taking the team to win on the money line at home with the Astros. Woo! It's why you would argue that the postseason, and I don't normally do this with baseball at all. None of us do, because you're as good as your next day's pitcher. But can you imagine a playoff series between the Yankees and Stros, where home field? Yeah, it's good stuff. And all these bullpen issues with everybody.
Wow, this is interesting. So I'm looking at runs scored, and of course the American League is going to lead the way over the National with the DH over 162. You know who scored the most runs in the bigs this year? The Twins.
Yeah, well, remember early on they were beating everybody 11-0 every night.
They're doing home run record stuff, but it's not just the home run ball. They've scored 822 runs. The Yankees are 6 behind at 816, but everybody kind of they combine the idea they have in their head with the Yankees with they've got Thunder in the lineup like into the farm system.
Yeah.
Because all their replacements earlier in the year were getting home.
Their approaches at the plate is the best in baseball right now. And you know why? The guy they're paying $300 million hasn't played but 9 games for him. Good work out of you. Good work, Matthew. And what do we have? Rory Schrock's up next, right?
Soccer guys
I thought
tonight.
that would review. Oh, that's tomorrow.
Yep, soccer guys tonight. And then we got NFL opening night coverage from our friends at Westwood One.
Welcome back, National Football League. For all your flaws, you still have me. I'll be watching tonight, and it's a good one. It's a good one. Green Bay, Chicago.
Tariq Cohen's one of my flex players.
Here we
Gotta
go.
watch.
Let's make it happen. Be well, everybody. Talk to you tomorrow.